Welcome to Chronic Curiosity, where real people have real discussions, unscripted and raw, about anything to everything. If you enjoy the show, we ask that you follow, subscribe to the channels, all those things. Also, if you would like to support the show monetarily, you can do so by going to the website chronic-curiosity.com. At the bottom of the page, you can donate in dollars or Bitcoin, or you can go to the shop and purchase some curious merchandise that just happens to be fantastically comfortable. Also, if you'd like to connect with the show, please feel free to shoot us an email, comment on whatever platform you're using, or you can join the forum that is also at chronic-curiosity.com. Interact, ask questions. Let's have some fun. And here we go. I don't know. I don't care. You can talk about your guns all you want, bro.
Yeah.
Well, it's not mine. I found it outside.
Oh, it's not. No, I wish. It's not mine.
It's not mine.
I don't own guns.
I don't either.
Guns are bad.
Dude, you know what happened?
I don't like them.
I used to own guns, and then I went on a boat trip, and they all fell into the ocean.
I hate when that happens.
Isn't that crazy?
I hate when that happens.
Now, what's left? Oh, here we go. It says it right there.
Did the serial number get scratched, though? Because Austin said that you needed to do that.
Well,
if they fall off a boat into the ocean, then
he lost
He
them. That means that's not in his possession anymore. That means he doesn't have them anymore.
Yeah, they're not in my possession.
Yeah, because
Okay.
he lost them. So yeah, it doesn't matter. It's not stereo. It's all mono. It doesn't. You can switch them, put them on whichever ear you want.
How's my
Mr.
hair?
Chad,
Yo.
Chad Beecher,
What's up, dude?
welcome back, good sir.
Mm-hmm. Check my hair.
Yeah, you got to check your. It looks good. It looks good. Mine, I don't have mine pulled up today, so it's not.
I
Yeah.
did bring my own hairspray.
I saw that. I don't have mine pulled up, so I can't take the head off.
How do you want this? Like this?
Yeah, I mean, you're like just talking to the top of it.
Yo.
Hey.
Yo.
Yeah. Welcome back, sir.
2 phones. Thanks, man.
Yeah. I had some good responses from the last time you were here.
Oh, really?
If you believe it or not.
Oh.
I
You
mean,
didn't-
not that I
I was gonna say you didn't tell me, Dick.
one was last night.
Oh,
I was
cool.
actually with somebody. We did a little ruck event. I didn't stay for the whole thing, but I mentioned that you were coming. I said, well, I can't because it was like this big 24-hour thing that we talked about before you came on. And I was like,
I'm so down to do that, by the way.
Ooh, no. I was like, yeah, I can't do that. I have to be coherent.
Oh, for
tomorrow.
today.
Yeah, for today. So, but it wasn't too bad. But he's like, yeah, Chad. He's like,
Who was it,
it's a
Dustin?
good one. Yeah,
Cool. I'd
Yeah.
like to meet him sometime.
yeah, for sure. I almost told him like, well, you don't know him in person. It's fine. No, just totally fine. He's like, oh, fuck you guys. I'll leave it. No, it's good, man. It's
Cool.
good. Did you end up taking a deep dive on the history,
Oh,
the Earth history deal that I sent
well,
you?
yeah, I was gonna say, so we need to let everybody know. Like, you were like, dude, we need to talk about stuff because
We don't have to. You want
well,
to.
this was a while back, like right when you started the podcast. You're like, here, let's just you listen to all this stuff, and then let's talk. And then so, what was it? I mean, it was like a ton, like a shitload
That's
of.
a lot.
I don't know how many how many.
There were
podcasts it
probably,
was.
I would say, at least 8.
Yeah, at least.
And they're like 3+ hours a piece. All the Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson discussions with Rogan and
Earth history. Well,
yeah, I called it Earth history.
It's not just you, Chad. We have had to listen to those
14.
to and from road trips.
There's 14.
There's 14.
Oh, there's a lot more.
Well, dude, that's why you got to invest into, I don't know, I don't have them, but the AirPods. You just literally throw the AirPods in and drive, then you can have screaming kids in the back.
Yeah, well, I don't like to close a 2 hour. You know, I like to, and some of the stuff was so interesting that you found was.
No, yeah, I didn't hate it. We made sure Kyrie was able to like watch a movie so that she wasn't like.
Yeah, because she'd be really bored.
She's like, okay, dirt, I get it.
Yeah, it is one of those things you have to pay attention to. But it's super interesting that some of the ideas and concepts that they throw in.
It's good on road trips and then also grocery shopping.
I could see that.
Like, I just go into Kroger.
Yeah,
in.
but if I did that grocery shopping, I'd totally forget half the things I need.
Oh,
I'd be paying attention.
I literally, I'm sitting there looking at the list, and I'm like, I could switch over and watch that video.
Yeah.
Because the video really helps too. Because I know that, so with Rogan, you've got the video aspect as well.
Yeah, and Randall Carlson. I don't know. Have you listened to much of Randall Carlson? Any of those things, Tony, or you just think I'm crazy and you just ignore it?
No, I listen to like so what is it? Randall Carlson. Who else is on there?
Graham
Graham
Hancock.
Hancock.
They've been on together.
Yeah, I've listened to them. Maybe they've been on there like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
14 times.
14 times.
Well,
No,
no. Some of it.
I think I've listened to him 3 times max.
It's
okay.
it's
That's
more than
fine.
3.
So Graham Hancock's been on there.
That was the flood theory and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
I
younger,
listened
they
to
talk about the younger Dryas
Yep,
and all that.
yep.
Yeah. Well, Graham Hancock's been on there individually because he's like a cannabis advocate as well.
Well, yeah, he
Smoke weed every day.
So he said he smoked weed every day and then he stopped after he did ayahuasca.
Yeah, but then he started back up again because he realized after
he started back, but
he
it was like
realized he
on
did-
Rogan. He smoked. He's like, oh shit.
Well, he did ayahuasca and he realized the relationship he had with it
yeah,
was not a great relationship.
yeah, it was unhealthy.
Yeah, so then he started back up years later. But he was on a bunch, and then
does he use every day now? Is he
Well,
I don't know if he
habitual?
No,
lat
when
stepper?
he said when he was doing it, because
when
he was doing it. I think he's like I did it for 18 hours a day,
yeah.
something crazy like
smoked weed for 18
Yes.
hours a day?
Yeah, he would because he's like a writer. He's like
Hold on
a
a second.
journalist,
Like,
novelist.
I think you
that
need
and bake.
So like define that 18 hours a day. So like every hour he was smoking weed.
Well, when you're coming down off the high, you're like, wait, where's it at?
Well, he even said he would
within
get
that
up.
hour. So like 18 times.
Well, not 18
No.
times.
18 hours a day.
No,
I don't know how long. It
We didn't.
lasts.
We didn't define every hour. We just said
No, that's what I'm
okay.
asking.
He was
That's what
high
I'm
for
asking.
18 hours.
I
yeah.
remember this.
That's
kind
what
so,
I'm asking.
So what he said,
Yeah.
I remember this. He said because he was a writer.
Hmm?
He's like a journalistic
Oh,
writer.
yeah.
So he started out smoking while he was writing.
Okay.
For creativity.
Yeah, creativity. He would do that, but then it became a little bit more and a little bit more, and then it came to the point where he would wake up in the morning and rip a joint right up. He'd just
Right
start
off the rip.
smoking. And he smoked the entire day until he went to bed. So 18 hours of, being high, consistent smoke.
He said
Okay.
he was never clear.
Yeah. So then he stopped. He did an ayahuasca venture, stopped completely because he realized the relationship was so bad.
It just showed him that I guess the ayahuasca showed him that was not a healthy relationship, and he just was like, "Oh, well, it's not." And he stopped.
Yeah. Which is interesting because then he started again, but like realizing
Well,
that
he's-
like you can do something, and you could do something.
Within moderation to keep it
Yeah,
healthy.
you can have that
Yeah.
like the dichotomy. Is that the word you usually?
Well, black or white. Where are we going here?
That or I don't know, whatever. You can do something. You can do the exact same thing with an unhealthy relationship or a healthy relationship. With something like
I think it depends on what your intentions are for that. but-
right, and you know what I mean.
Everything
Like,
in moderation.
in
Well,
moderation.
I don't know about
and-
everything because I'm not getting butt fucked, Chad.
No, hey, well, that's. I think you're over here. I think we're talking
He's
right
like,
here.
let's come
I'm
back.
just gonna go ahead and say that you said everything.
Everything,
everything.
I forgot. I
Tony.
need to realize I'm coming in on a second podcast here. You guys have already gotten sauced. So this
No,
is great.
No, we're fairly lucid, but
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Well, that's
quite
yeah.
possibly took it to
I'll
the extreme
circle
when you
back
said
to that here in a
I'll
minute.
circle back.
Jin
Thanks,
Saki, please
Jen.
don't.
I fucking hate it every time, dude. I'm like,
Even when I hear people saying that now,
Killed
I'm
that
like,
term for everyone.
oh, I know.
Stop.
Well, I call your ass out on it. You're like, circle back. I'm like, all right, Jen.
Yeah. So you're just as bad.
I am too.
Yeah. Stop it.
Younger Dryas. It's younger, Dryas. I had to look it up because when they say it, it's younger Dryas is how they kind of flows off the
Well,
tongue.
Graham Hancock. He has that like
Hancock.
English. Graham Hancock.
Dude,
He has that weird-
he's a pistol, man.
He is. So he's
He
one-
didn't let anybody fuck with him.
Well, I mean, so some of those episodes, going back to that, some of those episodes were that I have on that list on the Spotify list because I sent you that were
Yep.
some of
Thank
them
you.
were like Robert Schock.
Who's Robert Schock?
So Robert Schock is an Egyptologist.
Okay,
He's like an actual like archaeologist
Yeah.
person that he was one of the first people.
legit indie.
Yeah, he was one of the first people with John Anthony West
Okay,
that started talking about the erosion on the
Sphinx.
Sphinx's face.
Yeah.
And then like for years they were just ridiculed.
Well, it wasn't on just the Sphinx's face. It was just erosion on the Sphinx because the Sphinx's face.
Yes.
They said that.
Yeah.
They were like the Sphinx. They were the ones that said, well, the erosion is different on the Sphinx's face as it is on everything else. And they found that the water erosion on the Sphinx itself, and they're like, well, that means that the Sphinx is way older than what we really think it is. And they're like, no, it's not.
And the Sphinx's face is much younger than
Right.
the body.
They said that it was recarved, and it was recarved, and they what was it? It was a more Ethiopian style face, something like that.
Yeah, so it was essentially they was and I want to back up after this, but
I know we dove way in.
Yeah,
right
we
there.
just
sorry.
like jumped all over the place. But it was a it looked because there's so many things here.
I forget that people listening to this have no clue what we're talking
No
about.
clue what we're
So we
talking
need
about.
to slow down.
Yeah, so we'll back up a little bit and,
Okay.
and talk about the Sphinx,
Yeah.
and then we can back up to the 20,000 the footprint in
Oh yeah,
New Mexico.
yeah.
Well, so yeah, all right.
Put on your seatbelt, Tony. It's about to be a wild ride.
Yeah. So the Sphinx, in general, I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head, but generally, the Sphinx is thought by quote unquote the experts to be 6,000 ish years old.
No, I think that's
Or
6 to 8,
Yeah, 6 to 8.
but it's definitely not older than 10.
6 to 8,000 years old. So we're just gonna say that. I might be wrong, but 6 to 8,000 years old. So people like John Anthony West, who did the old school documentary Magical Egypt, which you can
Yes.
buy online,
DVD.
or you can actually download it. But
Can
you
you?
have to pay for it? Yeah. So you have to stream.
That's
it
the
from
one
your
that Rogan
computer.
was like, because John Anthony West is like the
He's
old.
passed away now.
Oh, did he
He's
really?
gone. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
on Rogan too.
Yes.
Yes.
Super old guy, reminds me of the Red Green Show guy. I mean, but just in the Egypt way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, but you have these two guys that went out there,
Yeah.
looked at the Sphinx, which, in Egypt, the pyramids of Giza, all these different things. The Sphinx has the, cat body and the person-like head, whatever.
Mhm.
And they started looking at it and looking at the erosion and all these things and said, you know what, I don't think with the way this erosion is, it looks like rainwater erosion.
Right.
And which would mean the Sphinx is much older because that area hasn't seen the necessary amount of rainfall since what was it, 14,000 years? Something like that,
Mhm.
roughly.
Yeah.
Paraphrasing. Everything said during us talking about this will be all rough estimates and
Mhm.
guesstimations because I'm not an expert. But so that means that the entire Sphinx had to be created almost twice as long or twice as far back as the experts think it was.
The estimation.
The estimation is. So people, if you look at that and people think, wow, why is that such a big deal? Whatever. No big deal, right? Well, if you consider, if we think that civilizations as in people coming together, living together, farming, creating cities, all these different things started around the Egyptian time frame, 6,000 to 8,000 years ago. Well, okay, that's a pretty long time. But if you don't think it happened before then, and then all of a sudden these people come on the scene saying, no, we think civilizations were around twice this long
Mhm.
ago, well before 15,000 years.
Mhm.
Maybe the Sphinx is 20,000 years old. And everybody, all the quote unquote experts were like, you guys are crazy, you're quacks, you're pseudoscientists,
Mhm.
you're all wrong. And to the normal person, because when I listen to this stuff, I was like, why does it matter?
Right.
Why does it matter?
Doesn't, but it does.
It doesn't. But when you think about, okay, 8,000 years ago, we think civilization started to arise,
Mhm.
hypothetically. Well, given some events, which I'm sure we'll touch on, if we only started 8,000 years ago, okay, that's one timeline. But if we started 16,000 years ago, 20,000 years ago, that's double the timeline
Right.
that we've had in between all of these events. So when you break it down to look at us in the last 200 years, we've gone from no electricity, no flight, no automobiles, zero computers, none of that,
To iPhones,
to iPhones, from
Apple Watches.
less than 100 years ago. What was it? The Wright brothers, what year did the Wright brothers take flight?
Dude, yeah.
Was it 1920?
It was 19 something.
Yeah, it was 1920 something.
And now we got
1923?
supersonic jets, dude. Hypersonic
No,
missiles.
we won't get it.
December 17th, 1903.
1903. Ooh, I was 20 years off. So 120 years ago, we learned how to fly.
Kitty Hawk just blasting away.
Yeah.
But times that by, what is it? How many times is that in
100.
8,000 years?
Right. So 8,000 years. The difference between 8,000 years ago and 20,000 years, that's 12,000 years of human
So exponentially in under 120 years,
Who
we've
the-
advanced by
who knows
60,
what's going on?
66 times.
Yeah. Okay. So that's why this idea of this monolithic giant thing.
Like Gobekli Tepe.
Yeah, we got it. We got to step into it.
I know.
I know it's hard. Yeah, but so that's why it's a big
yeah.
deal. You figure okay, if we think our civilization started 8,000 years ago, and this is where we've grown to,
Right.
But then now we're seeing evidence that it continues to be kind of not proven, but like evidence to lead that it could be more than double that. What happened?
They call it a fringe claim on Google.
What?
His hypothesis.
A fringe? Oh, I'm sure they do.
They do.
Does it say fact check right under that?
Yeah.
No.
Probably says COVID vaccine warning. No,
Yeah,
just kidding.
exactly.
It
Everything
says
should.
because of the erosion, they all should have had the vaccine.
Yeah.
Oh. Got
We're
it.
not
You will also lose your nose if you don't get it,
Got it.
is what it
Oh,
says.
well, the
it's-
nose.
But they do call it a fringe
called leprosy,
claim.
but
A
okay.
fringe claim. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're afraid to be wrong. So,
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
You know,
yeah, and the
Well,
the
no,
claim
it's-
to the face, the Sphinx's face,
Right.
that's also been changed. And
Oh, they finally admit that it's not the original face.
I think it's becoming more and more mainstream that it has been changed.
They're doing this. It's like it's like, oh no, don't. It's not that. You know?
Yeah. So the idea in general is
Yeah.
that the Sphinx was built, and then it was who knows what it was, but then later on, the Sphinx's head was recarved
Mhm.
to look like one of the certain kings or whatever it was.
Right.
And at that time, and one of the face now is missing the nose. It's gone.
Right.
And there's some evidence that would indicate that the nose has been broken off.
Oh, really?
There's
on
like
purpose.
these vertical channels that look like the nose has been broken off.
Oh.
And the idea behind that is when the people that came along and found this Sphinx, however many thousands of years ago, recarved the head
Mhm.
into their king, which was a very Egyptian thing to do,
Yeah.
right? You recarve
Honor your king or whatever.
Yeah, you build a pyramid, you carve a statue, whatever. So kind of one of the theories is that they recarved the head of this king and made it to look like this king.
Mhm.
Well, this king at the time was a black gentleman, African American, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, not white.
And not necessarily like Western Asian Egyptian. Typically, I can't remember all the names they go into them. That's way above my level of remembrance and expertise. But the idea is because they could see where there's these vertical channels where it looked like the nose was broken off, because the nose would have been wider, and that really would have set the facial structure features for this Sphinx recarving to indicate, oh, this doesn't look like the typical Egyptian pharaoh.
Oh, that's the theory behind why it's broke off.
That's why it's because they defaced it.
Who
because-
came up with that theory though.
Well, it's just the facial structure. When you look at the facial structure, and then it looks, and then the time frame, and all these, I can't remember all the details. You have to go and
Google it.
Robert Schock, John Anthony West. Look at all these people, and they're not like boisterous, like they're not ancient aliens type people. They're not the dude with the hair. They're not these crazy.
jeez.
Yeah, they're not these like crazy fucks.
Yeah.
using
So-
Chad's hairspray.
This says an Egyptian Arab historian in the 15th century. Nose was destroyed by a Muslim named Muhammad Samadari. I don't know. In 1378, because Egyptian peasants made offerings to the Great Sphinx in the hope of controlling the flood cycle, which would result in a successful harvest. Outraged by the blatant show of devotion that Muhammad, whoever, destroyed the nose and then was later executed for vandalism. Whether that's an absolute fact is still debatable, but that looks like that's like the general.
Right. So the nose was destroyed.
So they documented it somewhere at least.
Yeah. So it's been documented that the nose was intentionally destroyed. So what that means, I don't know.
Yeah.
But there has been some fairly good arguments to believe that the Sphinx is older than
So
historians say it is.
So the Sphinx. So you got the Sphinx and you got the Great Pyramid. And
Yeah.
you got the other pyramids. So the Great Pyramid is older than the other pyramids, right? I think that's
There's a couple. Yeah, there's time frames. Yeah, there's time frames that they were built. They weren't all built. Everything wasn't built at the same time.
right. But was the I thought
General
that
knowledge,
that the Sphinx was built carbon dated like older than the actual Great Pyramid. Or am I getting
I
that?
don't know
Crap.
that.
Because
But I do know there is different time frames that the
Well, I thought it was like 1,000 years before kind of thing.
Oh, there's big time frames. Yeah, there's big time frames with even general knowledge or the science, whatever, the community. I don't even know what the words they use.
The
for
accepted
experts, whatever it is. That all these things, these things were built in groups. They weren't all built the same. Because I used to think growing up, like, oh, these things are all built at the same time.
like that.
Yeah, not the truth. So like they're built different times, and then also there are mainstream beliefs, and I also believe this too, that there are structures, they're like foundations under some of the pyramids that are older than the actual pyramids. So if the pyramid is like some of the pyramids, I'm just throwing numbers out, totally fake. I have no idea. If it's 6,000 years old, even general consensus says, well, this pyramid that's 6,000 years old was built on top of something that's 8,000 years old.
I did hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some of that out there too. So there's a lot of questions on time frames. Going back to, well, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but building these things 8,000 years ago, what the hell were they doing?
Well,
like
great. So the Great Pyramid too, they talked about in the podcast. They said if it was off by like a millimeter, something crazy like that, it would actually spin, right? It would look like it was curved, but it's so freaking precise that it's not. It's perfect. And then what was it on the Great Pyramid? The top is the only part that's left, basically, that's original, because everything else was vandalized or taken. I think they stole it to go rebuild a city or something like that. But before that, it was so smooth. It was like gloss, is what they said. The original, theoretically, the finish on it. So it's like, who the hell did all that, man? Like, how did they do that? And it's like, I think the whole thought process, or at least the problem, did you get it? I think you got it. But the problem was that they were trying to figure out was how the hell did they get all those blocks down there? Right. And I think one of the things they came up with is they channeled the water, right? So they made their own channels, and they put these giant ass things, these blocks on boats that they channeled all the way down. And so that's another thing that with the water erosion at the base of the Sphinx, because they channeled the freaking water down, dude. So they finally got all these big blocks down, plopped them off the boat, and then just heave-hoed them all the way over to the pyramid. So it's like, okay, I can buy that, but how did they get that thing all the way up? They cut it in a quarry that was like way up the street, right? And it's not just like throw it on a dump truck, we'll be all right.
Right.
Yeah.
These things are bigger than dump trucks.
We're talking camels and wood boats, right? And this is huge.
So we think.
Well, right. Okay, yeah. And so we were talking about,
yeah, we'll get there. I'm not
back to the poster.
I know.
See, this is a discussion I need to have because I have some thoughts that I've never really tied into it. And Tony always makes me laugh, and I've never really pieced them all together.
Yeah.
But that's where the idea that the history that we've been told may not be really what it is. And it's never been more evident than, and I don't mean to we definitely don't need to get down this road, but it's never been more evident to me that your mainstream sources or your mainstream channels of where you get your information from are so easily diluted or changed that even in the world we live today with all the technology and the interaction and the interconnection that we have it's so easy to be able to change a story and a narrative to make however many people think differently.
Well, we were talking about, lying with statistics.
Yeah.
I mean, was Bill Gates one of his top 10 books to read.
Right. And even statistics, like you may not be lying, but you're telling a story with the statistics that you want to tell that story with.
And if there's no repercussions for if you make a mistake.
Well, but you're not lying. You know, you could say
there still needs to be a consequence of, hey, like, you know, maybe we're not going to penalize you to this extent, but like you need to make this right and admit that, hey, what I said wasn't right. There needs to be an admonish that like, hey, this fact was incorrect. Mm-hmm. No one's doing that right now. No one's holding anyone accountable.
Right. So then
fire in a theater. and you light your lighter. Well, no, there was a fire right there. I lit my lighter.
Yeah.
You know, and then everybody's screaming and freaking out. It's like this 99.97% death rate thing, right? It's like, no, but all these people died. Look. And it's like, well, what's the percentage of kids that are dying of this thing? And it's this tiny little percentage, and there's all this other stuff, all these other factors, and we're like, oh, but let's really focus in on this one thing that just curves our narrative to where
It's
we
what
want.
you're focusing on.
Yeah, of
It's-
course.
It's the focus of your perspective.
It is perspective.
Sounds like some Houdini shit right
But
there.
it's perspective.
Watch this while I do some other shenanigans over here.
Yeah, it's all perspective.
Shenanigans?
So it's how you look.
Ooh.
Oh, that's good. He said it.
He said it.
I love that movie.
It's a great movie.
The remake was still pretty good.
I
bad,
don't
not
know if I
bad.
ever watched the remake.
The
of
second one?
Super True. Yeah, I don't know if I ever watched
Open
it.
Canada.
Yeah,
I don't
Not
think
Yeah.
bad.
so.
Not bad.
and Mounties. It's not the original one though.
It's not.
So,
Bear fucker.
Do you need assistance?
say car ramrod.
Ah, you didn't say it.
I forgot. Sorry.
Yeah.
So,
Meow. All right, meow. We gotta get back to this, right, meow?
yeah, right meow.
Right, meow.
So, I don't mean to go on a rant. So, what did you find what did you find interesting about some of the stuff you listened to?
So you were rambling and you were going on a rant, and I was like, how are we gonna make this like a time? Because it's almost like we have to talk about it in a timeline, of sense, right?
We do. We can
Because-
go all the way back if you want.
Well, I think we need to start as to our current history, right? So we find something, we're like, holy shit, it's the most oldest thing we've ever known. And then you find something else. Holy shit, that's the oldest thing. And you just keep going. So you're
You have a box of old shit that you don't know what to do with.
well, yeah, because yesterday this was the oldest thing, right? Or yesterday I believed that this was the thing, right? And
Right.
so in order for us to constantly evolve, you have to have an open mind, right? Because the Great Pyramid may be however long, but if we find something that's like 200,000 years old, or a footstep somewhere that's 13,000 years old,
20,000.
20,000 years old.
Can you look that up? Because I think there's there's like a footstep in New Mexico, and then there's jewelry in like Russia that was like 26,000 years old. Like, here's some of the key points.
And they find
And then Gobekli Tepe.
yeah, so yeah, exactly. We need to talk about that because so the way how they're finding out how old this is, just for everybody that's not really a history buff, is carbon 19, carbon 17,
dating. Yeah.
whatever. It's
Was it
carbon 19.
19? I don't know. Not
No, it's
COVID-19.
COVID-19.
I don't know.
Hold
It's
on.
carbon dating.
When you said a box old shit that we don't know what to do with, I figured we were gonna dust it off and it was gonna say, "Go Brandon."
Oh yeah.
No.
Is it
We're not going there.
Oh wait,
That's
did you show him the video?
Mm,
I'll just show you afterwards.
There's a lot of them.
There was in Kroger apparently where I
Oh,
live.
that one. No, I
There was a guy in Kroger from
Sure.
where I live that went and he went up, and I don't know who he was, but he had the sweet beard and everything
Yeah.
like that. He went up and he was like, my friend Lesko, he's lost. I need to talk to him before I head out of here. So he's like, okay, we could page Lesko. What's his last name? I said Brandon. Oh, that's his first name. No. His last name is Brandon. His first name's Lesko.
Let's go, Brandon.
And so he's like, he kind of smirked at the guy. He's like, can Lesko Brandon please come to the front of the store?
There's been a lot of
Lesko
those.
Brandon.
Would you see the Texas Attorney General?
Uh-uh.
There's a video out. They're having this press conference or whatever, and
Everybody should know what Lesko Brandon means, right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think they can
All right.
look it up.
Yeah,
Um,
Google it.
But they were talking about whatever things, and there's like a bunch of people,
Mhm.
and the Attorney General of Texas was like, you know what? He's like, all I can say is, let's go, Brandon. We'll see you in court. And I was like,
The Attorney General of
"Oh!"
Texas?
Yeah, the Attorney
Good.
General of Texas was like, let's go, Brandon. We'll see you in court. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
CNN's like, but who's Brandon?
Yeah. Well, Brandon is
NASCAR
commonly
driver?
known as
Joe Rogan's consuming horse paste.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah.
The footprints in New Mexico were
I'll
23,000
trade
years
you.
ago.
Okay.
You want some for some of that?
You were here.
Far away, bro.
Let's say the last one.
What's that?
You know a little bit of suburban, Chad?
About the what?
Maybe.
This
Okay.
is Julie
Scotch?
found-
I don't want like shitty stuff because the last time I drank, I was on your show.
None of this is shitty, bro.
Well, hook me up with something.
None of this is shitty.
Well, this tastes good too.
So you said
Thank you.
as we eat some beef sticks. So you said that those footprints were 23,000 years. So this ties in. When I heard this ties in directly to what Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock have been talking about for years, and been laughed at by the scientific community for years. So they're I'll try to summarize it. It's so fascinating. I have a hard time because my mind goes so many places all at once. But I'll try. So essentially, Graham Hancock, who we've talked about,
Give it a minute or two to proof down.
Graham Hancock is a journalist, like novelist. He writes some books. Has done a couple of different things, and he's kind of like he likes to write about history and different factors that we found ourselves in weird positions throughout that. But Randall Carlson he's like a geologist and something.
Well, Graham Hancock is not actually. He doesn't have any degrees or anything like that.
No, he's just like a journalist.
Yeah, he's
and, like,
basically he's a
novelist.
reporter of it.
Right.
Because he was screaming at the one guy. He's like, "Listen, I'm not a credentialed whatever." He's like, "I'm just reporting what other people are reporting. Don't
Right.
look at me."
Yeah, he's taking all the information. He's made books and stuff out of it.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead,
a
sorry.
meta-analysis, basically.
Right. And Randall
Yeah.
Carlson is like a person that he's like a geologist and all
yeah.
these different things that he's seen, all the whatever. So Randall Carlson has many ideas, but one idea is that there was an asteroidal impact during the Ice Age, roughly 13,000 years ago, during which led into the Younger Dryas, or that was the Younger Dryas age, whatever. I don't know. I'm not one of those people, but so he's kind of hypothesizing that there was an asteroidal impact during the Ice Age 13,000 years ago, which that's mainstream scientists will agree that there was an ice age around then.
Widely agreed upon.
Yeah. His hypothesis and things that he's gone through and trying to prove is that there was this asteroidal impact and it melted the ice caps. And you gotta let that melt down a little bit. Just like the ice caps. So the ice caps melted down and caused the sea levels to rise. This essentially giant flood came down through like North America and all these things, and like
it just like vaporized some of the ice caps too, like instantly.
Yeah, so like
which caused it to just go.
You figure
crazy.
miles of ice caps, depth wise, turned into water instantly.
Yeah,
that's a giant flood coming at you. So as it comes down, it sweeps away these boulders, all these different things, and wipes out everything that's on it.
Yeah,
and so you pair that, and he's been laughed at because they talk about how there probably was humans here before, and all these animals, and all these different things. And the general consensus is that in North America, that there really wasn't anything. There was obviously some wildlife, whatever, but there's Native Americans here and the Vikings, and there might have been some indigenous people here. I don't know, maybe like once from the Icelandic bridge from Russia to North America.
Yeah.
So that's how people got here.
Right.
But that was only like, I want to say like that 8,000 year range around the time of the pyramids. So he's always been kind of laughed at because he thought people were on North America well before the average person thought.
And it wasn't widely agreed upon.
And that was not widely agreed upon.
That was like fringe. That was
super fringe. Yeah. So now, just a month or two ago, they have found fossilized human footprints in New Mexico that they have dated back with their
23,000. Is that what you said?
Yeah, with their scientific knowledge, 23,000 years ago. So, if humans were on North America 23,000 years ago, and we didn't think they were up until 8,000 to 6,000 years or whatever it is, that changes a lot of things. That changes everything on what you have to think about history. So that was like one of the key factors in, okay, this might be getting weird. And if people don't understand, like, because we talked about 200 years, 200 years, how much have we changed? How much could change in a civilization from 23,000 years to 12,000 years? That's 11,000
That's
years.
almost double.
11,000 years before some asteroidal impact hits and changes life as humans know it on Earth.
And you said we went in 200 years from like not flying to now where we are now?
Yeah, right. 120 years from not flying to where we are now.
That's a lot, dude. And the thing is like imagine, so, oh shit, almost. Imagine like what was the kickoff? What was the, I don't know what that word is.
Impetus?
Impetus, yeah, that's what I was looking for.
That's a Tony word I
The
use a lot.
Kickstarter?
Catalyst.
Catalyst.
Well, That's usually an enzyme that propels you
start
when
something.
something else.
Yeah,
was there.
but I'm saying, what
Could
was
be the word.
what was the catalyst? What was the thing that kicked off? What was the thing that started the whole thing?
Big Bang.
No, not Big Bang.
Oh.
We're not going that far.
Hold
not
on,
that far back?
Where are we
What
at?
whole thing?
Time wise, the flight, or what are we talking about?
Think about this. So we went from computers the size of your house to iPhones, and how quick? Pretty damn quick.
60 years.
Did we hop out of the trees and we're on the ground now?
Well, but like, let's
Had to
say,
come up with some defense mechanisms.
let's do this. I don't think we were evolved, right? I
Huh?
don't think we evolved from apes. I just don't think so. I think we were designed, but that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, we won't get too stuck on.
But anyways, so think of how long it took. Let's say we did hop down from the trees to figuring out iPhones.
Okay.
You really think it took them tens and 20 thousands of years to go just to like creating fire? Dude, come on. We're sitting there literally just walking around with bows and arrows, and then we slowly start exponentially going to iPhones. Like, it didn't take that long to start figuring out that, like, hey, this tool's bullshit. I need to figure out how to have a better tool than this. I can have a bow and arrow now instead of just an arrow.
Yeah.
Oh, or a spear.
Yeah.
What about a compound bow? What about pulleys and levers? Like, they were sitting there looking at stars and figuring out constellations without telescopes, allegedly.
Sure.
And they had it all pinpointed to where it's accurate to this day.
What about batshit, saltpeter, potassium nitrate, and we'll come up with some gunpowder.
Right.
Who knows?
So to that point exactly. So this, I think, leads us into.
I'm just saying it doesn't take 1,000 years, 11,000 years,
Right.
20,000 years.
So this is, I think this
Yeah,
is. Go ahead.
No, I just didn't know if there's anything in between that 1,000 years that would have stymied.
That's exactly.
Yeah,
what I was
so the
gonna
That's
young-
why I
say.
figured you were
so
getting
the,
that.
so the Younger Dryas, so let's define this real quick. The Younger Dryas, if you look from an archaeological standpoint, it's the black area, right? In the soil, it's the black area, the death
I think.
area.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure it's the death area.
I think so.
Because there
Which-
is that black thick area that's basically it's all the material and crap that was either on fire, or the sediment, or the carbon
from that asteroidal impact.
from that one big asteroidal impact, which
What's it called?
it's called the Younger
Dryas.
Dryas.
Younger Dryas?
I don't know if the Younger
Okay.
Dryas period is before or
Okay.
after.
Yeah.
But I don't
But
remember.
they were looking at like mammals and shit. So you were talking about this earlier. They were talking about you could see the bones and like the fossils of these bigger animals, bigger mammals before the Younger Dryas, and you didn't see them afterwards
right,
in the
'cause
fossils
there's
because
a mass
they were
extinction.
they were gone. There was but the smaller mammals stuck around, and then the actual like plants and stuff didn't change too much. But these larger mammals were like there one day, gone the next.
Did you?
But there was that defining line.
This
right?
is the Younger Dryas was around 12,900 to 11,700 years BP.
BP.
That's what it says.
I don't know what the P stands for. I mean, it's obviously BC or BCE.
Like British Petroleum, or what are we talking here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was the
that's-
wiki one.
yeah, but that's essentially. I don't know what BP stands for. That's weird. I don't never heard that one. Usually they use BCE before the Common Era, but that's so.
Okay.
That 12,000 years is what we're talking about.
Right.
That they were like folks like Randall Carlson think there was this giant asteroidal impact.
The big one,
The big
because there
one.
was multiple ones.
Yeah, but that was the big one.
Yeah.
And listen to him talk is fascinating, but
Mhm.
it essentially was a mass extinction event.
BP, before present.
That's original.
Oh,
This is-
before present. Oh, so they're saying
Before
12,000 years from now,
Hmm.
not
Yes.
BC. They're not saying on. They're saying
Yeah.
in general this time.
So they're saying this one is saying about 14,000 years
okay,
before
so that
present.
makes sense. So this is
14,000 years
14,000
ago.
So it's 1,200 BCE, 14,000 from now. So that's what we're looking at. So either way, these time frames, you have an impact, so a supposed asteroidal impact that is this mass extinction event about 14,000 years ago. And as you were saying, Chad, we find these giant animals and skeletons and like just mass extinction fossilization event, and then there's a layer of this real thick, like just essentially fallout of
Topsoil.
ash, topsoil,
Yeah.
everything got destroyed, and then it changes.
And then it goes back to
So
normal.
with that timeline, so we have just throwing some random stuff out. We have footprints in North America at 23,000 years ago or whatever. And then we have a Egyptian pyramids and the Sphinx that are thought to be by mainstream scientists 6,000 to 8,000 years. But then you have some people coming along and saying, look, like this weathering, all this stuff doesn't make sense. And the mainstream people that think it's 6,000 to 8,000 years don't have any good backing up to it. It's just because that's what we think it is. Well, like there's no argument. There's no good argument against this. And these people say, well, we think it's actually because of the time frame. It looks like rain erosion, and rain hasn't been in this area
since around the Younger Dryas, or before.
Since before the Younger Dryas, which would be 14,000. And that's like, so these things look like they're 14,000 years old, which brings us to Gobekli Tepe, which was, I believe, 13,500 BCE, whatever.
Where's Gobekli Tepe at? Is that like
that's Turkey?
Turkey?
Is it
Yeah.
Turkey?
Okay.
Okay. So I think Gobekli Tepe means like big mound or something like that.
Okay. What language is that?
Turkish, dude. I don't know.
I don't know.
I figured we were talking like Latin or something.
No, I don't know.
Probably.
It probably is, but like so what it was is Gobekli Tepe, just as some backstory, was a mound,
Yeah.
and it was a farmer's field.
They excavated it.
Yes. Well, he was just going and he started plowing. He's like, "There's some rocks and shit. What's that?" You know. And
all of a sudden they
he's like, "Huh, that's
kicked
weird."
up some artifacts, and they're like,
So and I'll give the super short of Gobekli Tepe. Yeah. So the super short about it is that
Let's give us some images on there.
yeah, Google Images. So
Look at that.
So they put the dome over it, but Gobekli Tepe,
that's wild.
it makes Stonehenge look
Like a
bitch.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna
like
say
toddlers play.
But so Stonehenge is not as old, or sorry, it's newer than Gobekli Tepe.
Correct.
Okay.
Because everybody thought, oh my gosh, Stonehenge is crazy. Like, look at this, it's lined up. Who would have ever thought about doing this? And then Gobekli Tepe is way older. So that was
one of the things where when they started talking about so Graham Hancock, and since we're referencing,
I was just going to say
much,
they buried it on purpose, and we can get to that.
Like Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson, they talk about the beginnings of these civilizations.
Yeah.
That we think civilization was around before then. And all those mainstream scientists were like, well, where's the proof? Where's the proof of these civilizations being around 13,000, 14,000, 16,000 years ago? There's no proof of this until they found Gobekli Tepe, which has been understood widely as intentionally buried over 13,000 years ago. And then they go, well, here's your proof of civilizations being around for more than 8,000 years. And now it's, oh shit, what are we going to do? Because that's great. And that's only like the stuff that they've excavated from Gobekli Tepe is like literally 10% of it so far.
Yeah, because there's rooms and stuff under it.
It's just
because they checked it out with radar.
Well, it's the whole mountain. It's like a constant of the entire area is just completely intentionally buried. I don't even know like if there's like a good picture of like the size of like from a distance or what they like think it is, but like the whole mountain they know from like radar and stuff is just
it's
completely
huge.
buried. It's
massive. And so look at this right here. See the it's a 3D carving right there. That's the big deal right there, because and then up and to the left, you see like the
relief carvings.
Keep going to the left, Cassie. Left, all the way left. Yep, that right there. So they say that right there is so much harder to do because you carve that by removing stuff versus carving in like, CB loves MB or whatever like that. You would literally carve away the tree to show the CB loves
and they're
MB.
carving away stone.
And they're carving away stone with tools and things like that. They say that that's so much more advanced than like the stuff at Stonehenge. It shows that they had
work.
They should. Well,
they have nothing else.
I guess the thing is they proved that they had advanced tools. It wasn't just stone on stone and me like.
I don't know. I wouldn't say you could prove that you have advanced tools. You prove that you have advanced time invested. Nothing.
Yeah, but everything's like that.
No, I'm just saying.
You know what I'm saying?
I know. I'm not. So you have to. This is where I dive down the hole of being precise with your words. I can't prove that relief carvings are advanced tools. But
Okay.
what I can prove is they take more time and effort than normal carvings, right?
Yeah, but dude, it's everywhere, man.
Every
single pillar, though.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is, it takes more time. Whether it takes more time to develop the advanced tools to be able to do it.
Yeah, so not that that's not a valid question, but dude, my burning question is, why did they bury it?
Well,
look
at you. So give me
Like, hold on. I want you to finish what you were saying. I didn't want to diminish what you were saying. That was my glaring question. I was like, not that I don't care about, the relief carvings in there.
It's just at the time.
So to get real quick. So to get into what, so to understand all these things, you have to understand the impact. Kind of like we talked about the difference between 8,000 years and 12,000 years.
Yeah.
Versus 200 to 100 years.
True.
You have to understand, you have to really try to contemplate the changes and the impact that has. So in order to contemplate the impact of burying it intentionally, you have to understand what they did. And to understand what they did, that they built this structure and giant thing that I don't even know how the words for.
Megalithic site.
Megalithic site. Monolithic site. Monolithic site.
Mega.
Yeah, it's a mega monolithic site.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a thing. But whatever it is, but that they created this ginormous site that we have no other kind of match to.
Hold on, I got to ask this real quick. So monolithic, like if we broke that word down, would be mono being singular and lith being stone. So one stone.
I think it's megalithic.
Well, I think
mega being like an extensive, lith being a stone.
Well, I think they call monolithic sites because it's built by singular big stones.
Okay. Oh, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, I think that's why they call them
Oh,
monoliths.
shit.
I just wondered where that was coming from.
I think that's why they call them monoliths.
Yeah, because those are Latin words. So
yeah, I don't know. But either way, you have this ginormous thing that turns into a mountain that they bury. But before they buried it,
chronically curious as to why they did that.
Yeah. They did all this work. And not only do they do extra carvings, they do these relief carvings, which like I said, I like to be, as much as you like to give me shit for, Tony, I'm not saying like aliens and all these things exist, but it's the question of, so you have to look at, these relief carvings were a thing. It takes more work to do a relief carving than it does an actual carving.
I know some carvers. I could bring them on the show.
Yeah. But it's not necessarily that they. Let me finish this thought so I don't lose it. So not necessarily do they have, advanced tools. They may have. I don't know, but we do know that they had more. They had advanced time to do these, or they had the extra time to create. They had the extra technology to create the equipment. Either way,
e.g.,
what they did,
alien technology.
Either way, what they did is they did this.
Right.
They have relief carvings, and these relief carvings line up very coincidentally to astronomical things.
It's astronomical alignment. It not just lines up, it is perfectly aligned.
Right.
With.
So like you look at places like the Serpent's Mount in Ohio.
For layman's people, think of a sundial.
Right. It lines up perfectly.
You put it right
to
there,
where
and you can tell exactly where the sun's at. Yeah. Well, the astronomical alignment, you can literally see like where the North Star, right, or some kind of constellation. Right. It's like boom, perfect.
There's intention to exactly how they were built, the direction they were built, and the carvings they were built, and then they buried the entire thing. 13
specifically
plus thousand
on
years
purpose.
Ago.
For what reason?
Okay, yeah, to bring it back. I don't know.
Right.
So
theories.
I mean, I've got plenty, dude.
Fire away. I want to hear them.
Well, so I want to kind of unpack that a little bit, right? So we're talking about a lot of stuff here. I want to make sure that Fred and I can talk. I would say advanced theories and stuff, and it's hard for somebody.
Not advanced.
Well,
for
not
a
advanced
person.
Yeah, but like if my wife was sitting here listening, she'd be like, "What the fuck are you guys talking about?"
Yeah.
Right? And I'm just saying. So like to dial all that back in to give it to our normal to your normal audience, it may not be as into the history, whatever. So when we're talking about advanced tools, right? I brought up my knife. So this is a knife, right? This is a cool knife.
Pretty advanced. You flipped it open with one finger.
It is, but this one's more advanced. This one's, press a button and it flies out.
Right.
But the difference between these two is maybe like, I don't know, a couple years of design, right? They figured out how to make this thing go like that.
Right.
But they had tools, right? Let's say this is a tool that is more advanced to where they chiseled it away or whatever. Maybe they use a sharper stone. Who knows? But that advancement allows them to do relief carvings. At the same time, you look at other places around the world in the same like carbon dated places, and they're not doing relief carvings. They're doing like this kind of thing, like let's carve in our name,
Cave paintings
and shit like that, right?
They didn't even think before they found this, going all the way back.
Yeah.
They didn't even think the civilizations existed at this time frame,
right?
Until they found this and went, "Oh shit, we're gonna have to adjust our time frame a little."
Well, and I think that the widely agreed upon thing is that they were hunter gatherers doing this, because I think Gobekli Tepe is on an island or something like that, and they're like, "Well, yeah, they were just hunters or gatherers."
No, it's not. It's in Turkey.
Well, I thought it was on an island in Turkey. Anyways, it's in a secluded area or whatever, and so you had to have crops and things like that. Like,
their thought was, I think part of the thing too is they think, well, it takes how many people to do all these carvings, so they had to have a lot of people there. If you had to have a lot of people there,
a society.
How do you have to feed? How can you feed them?
Yeah, you have to have crops and stuff like that.
So that's like it's this deduction of, well, we have all these people because we have to have all these people because we have all this giant structure. Well, if we have all this giant structure, we have to have all these people. And to have all these people, you have to have all this food.
Right.
To have all this food and people, you have to have water. And then you try to figure out all the things from that.
Yeah.
So that's why I say I don't discount the idea that there might have been technology that we don't understand.
Right. So I want to. So I'm trying to tie it back.
Yeah.
So so basically, you've got all these things that point to a civilization that is more advanced than most. Right. They're smarter than some.
Absolutely. More advanced than most from what we found.
At the time, in the time period.
Absolutely.
Right. So you're like, oh, that's fucking cool. All right, cool. These people are a little bit more smarter than the people over there on this other continent. Did somebody throw them a bone? Somebody give them the cliff notes to how to carve crap out of stone? Who knows?
They just been around longer.
Yeah, right. Have they done this? Have they done this before?
Yeah.
Who knows? But the one thing that we can all point to is that it was funny. They were talking on one of the podcasts. The animals that were walking around at the time, right, were like these honking huge mammals. And they're like, yeah. So think of like you putting a leash on this huge freaking mammal that's walking around this area. Like you're killing those things for food. Anyways, let me bring it back.
What do you think? I mean, no, real quick there. Maybe if they, because this is before the Ice Age with the asteroidal impacts, the end of the driest period.
Yeah.
So they could have had mammoths back then, theoretically.
Yeah, pulling stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, because you look at elephants. How nice are elephants to humans? A mammoth is, you know what I mean? And like the theoretical possibility of them taming mammoths
is it's real.
It's likely, and them using that, but still, the structure and everything that's there is still there.
Yeah. So I guess let me bring it way back. So it makes sense to have it. Advanced tools, maybe, but something freaking awesome happened. Something was going on. Something was going down. And then talking to what Tony said, they buried it. Why the hell did they bury it with rock and stone?
That's the big one.
Yeah, and so you think about that. If you
all
have
yours, baby, let's hear it.
Okay, so all right, so let me put this into perspective.
This is where it gets fun.
You've got your house, Fred, right?
Sure.
Sweet ass house. You carved stone things. You did all kinds of stuff.
Making knives
in here. Making
podcast
rooms. It's a mansion though. It's huge. It's like bigger than anything you've ever seen. Let's just put it into perspective here. It's actually because Gobekli Tepe is huge.
It's a big hill.
But then one day you're like, all right, dudes, we're gonna bury this damn thing. Let's do it. What are we burying it for? I don't know. So going to the theory is through time, right? You see this, everybody carrying around this purse, right?
Oh, are you going this round on me?
I am. Watch.
Okay.
So everybody carries around this purse. What is that purse? Is that their stash, right? Does it have shrooms in it? Does that have ayahuasca in it? What does it have in it? Or does it have knowledge in it, right? So the thing is we go through these different areas of time with humans on this earth. And then all of a sudden something happens and it wipes out a whole bunch. There's still some humans there because we're here, right?
Right.
Where'd we come from? Did we evolve? Who knows? But one school of thought is that there's always been that knowledge of things that are going to happen or that is happening, and that the small subset of people stay alive and they pass that knowledge down from generation through story.
Okay.
Okay.
I understand.
So think of you having a safe room.
Yeah.
Flood's coming. You got enough MREs to support for 12 months for the flood to go away. Only you guys have it. Everybody else around you, gone.
Noah's Ark.
Right. But you've got that information. So then, after about 3 or 4 generations, you don't have a safe room anymore. You have an ark. or let's say 20 generations later, the story morphs into an arc, because you have to, when you tell a story,
That was the vessel that brought our people to
right. Exactly. Because like when you're talking to somebody about their fishing trip, they're not like, oh yeah, I caught a fish. It was about like this size. It was like, oh man, I got this big ass fish. I used this lure and it was sweet. And we had this big thing. Because if you want that story to be passed down to generation, you got to embellish a little bit.
I don't even know if I'd say that. Maybe some people receive it differently, but I agree. It gets changed.
They've shown
It's
with
a
like Native
telephone
Americans. Yeah, they've shown with Native Americans, like the story changes. It was like, oh, the big bird that comes over the whatever, and it's like,
Yeah.
maybe there's some truth to that, but it's completely kind of morphed into stuff. But the actual guts of it, the core ribs of it, everything has stayed intact.
Mhm.
Because if you're just telling a story, like, oh, one day I went to Bueller's and I bought 3 different kinds of water. Oh, I went
That's a
down.
lie. It had to be at
It
least
was like
6.
6, yeah. So then you go and you tell your story. Like I had this journey. I got into my Civic Type R and I drove down the windy roads. I saw horse crap on the road because there was horse and buggies and I dodged that. And when I finally got over the crest of the hill, it was a 90-degree hairpin. And then and you tell this whole story about going to Bueller's. And you're like, I finally got to Bueller's and I got the water. It was one that was in a box and one was blue and one was from Alaska. And you tell this huge story because when you have that, you capture the audience. And then finally that story gets remembered and you're like, oh, and then you tell it to the next generation, tell it to the next one. Because if it was just a story about going and getting water, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
I know. I just wanted to kind of...
No, yeah, because you see how easily stories can change and morph into something bigger. And
But the core thing sticks, is what I'm trying to say.
There's a core...
The flood.
Yeah, there's a core pivotal point
I think
there.
that knowledge has stuck from generation to generation. So I think, why did they bury Gobekli Tepe? I think they knew. I think they knew what was happening because the changing of the seasons, the asteroidal whatevers that were happening, because we're on like a 21,000 year cycle with some of the
Kuiper Belt or whatever.
yeah, with some of the things like that, and you've got these objects that they know are coming.
So were they trying to pass knowledge on? Is that what you're saying?
I think they're trying to pass knowledge on. Yeah.
Boom, brings me into all the things tying it together. So
does that help? I guess.
I mean, yeah. If you're saying like the reason they buried it was because they were going to try and pass knowledge on because they knew something else was going to happen.
They knew what was happening.
It was going to eradicate.
They knew the younger horizon was happening.
So this is the disconnect. Yeah. This is the disconnect I think we have now, where because we think we have so much knowledge, we have so much technology, all these things.
It's in the cloud.
It's in the cloud, all these different things.
Which is a server, by the way.
All I should know is we should bury the fuck out of what's going on right now.
No, we should burn it, not bury it.
Burn it, bury it, whatever you want to say. Get rid of it.
Yeah, not bury it because it'll still be there.
Get rid of it. Yeah. Excavate the hell out of it.
Yeah. Don't push it out into space because that shit will come back from some alien species.
It will. Space trash.
Don't give me your bullshit and they'll send it back to us.
They're going to literally look at this and be like, wow, that's what you guys are doing?
Yeah. Stop it.
Yeah.
No, so...
I think we're all agree this is crazy time.
No, it's great. It's fantastic. So that's where we lose connection with history now.
Yeah.
Not only because we I ran on it so much. Social media, everything moves so fast. The news cycle, everything day to day, boom, 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 boom. Everything's changing. We lose touch with history. We lose touch with the fact that 120 years ago, these two assholes, the Wright brothers, were trying to fly around this thing. We're like, these guys smoking
we thought
drugs?
They were crazy, dude.
Like and then
they're not a bird.
It was Galileo.
You identify as a bird?
Yeah, and Galileo, thousands of years ago, or not even thousands, hundreds of years ago.
What are you staring at, bro?
Thought that the Earth revolves around the sun. What kind of fucking crazy person are
Heresy.
you?
Let's burn
Heresy.
them.
You need to be home arrest for the rest of your life. So we lose touch with timelines, and a lot of people,
timelines.
Timelines. When you think this is the only thing, these are some of the key points that got me. If you take everything right now that's in our daily lives, everything, steel skyscrapers.
Oh,
people think, well, these things are like, this will be around forever. You leave a car. Or a can. People think, oh, don't litter with that plastic bottle. It takes 150 years to... 150 years.
You got 30 more years and it's gone if you were at the Wright brothers' age.
Nothing. I agree. I'm not saying pollution and these things are bad
Yeah.
or not bad.
Yeah, recycle.
These are concerns. We don't need to be like dumping millions of tons of trash.
But anyways, it's going to be there, but it's going to go away.
It's going to go away.
A car will completely rust to the ground in no time.
Yeah, I mean, 40.
yeah,
You leave
40
a car
years.
sitting in your yard for 40 years and don't mow it, don't do anything. It's damn near
Yeah.
gone. In
Go to
40,
Southern Ohio and look at some people's front yards.
Yeah, 40 years, gone.
Yeah, and that's just a car.
That's just a car, and like so, a skyscraper. What do you think that's going to be in 400 years?
Even if it's stainless,
if it's left alone.
Even if it's stainless steel it'll get stuff on the front of it, and then it'll eventually corrode.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
It's not just undestructible.
Right. So the only things that last that we have seen last through the ages, stone.
Yep.
So the question to me is
The monolith and the megalith.
yeah, when people built like the pyramids, the Sphinx, and all these great and like the Mayan, all these the Gobekli Tepe, they think, well, why are these people why do they put so much work into stone? Why are they carrying on these big stones? This, that, whatever. Maybe there's a lot of things here. Maybe one, they didn't put that much work into it because they had the technology or the wherewithal to, and maybe it was different technology. That's another fun one too to think about. Different from ours. It could be technology that was just as advanced, but different.
Yes.
But even then, maybe they knew. And they knew that, like me sitting here right now thinking, well, if I want to make something that lasts 10,000 years, am I going to do it in metal? No, it's going to rust away. Am I going to get plastic? No, Earth's going to eat that too. You know what? I know what stands forever, or damn near about. Giant chunks of granite.
Yep.
That's one that kind of holds a lot. That holds better than anything else. So if I want to make something that's going to stand the test of time, it's hard stones.
Well, you could have made it. So let's get real. So let's say that they had our same technology we have today, right? But even more advanced. They had a big old bobcat rolling around with stones and stuff. They had a big old earth mover. They had a giant like stone quarry picking freaking thing, right?
Mhm.
Let's say they used all of that and more. If that was all made out of metal and iron and steel, it would be you could not find a trace of it today because it would all be absorbed back into the earth. So we wouldn't have known. We would
the only
not.
thing left is stones.
Yeah, the only thing is left is stone. And the thing is if they don't record it with like chiseling it in stone or something like that, then we would never know about it unless it was a cave painting of a freaking bobcat with a John Deere logo on it or something. Like we would never freaking know.
But at the same time, those people you would think would be smart enough to go, all right, anybody who finds this in 10,000 years, they might not read our same language. They may not understand
You're going to leave a note.
Our pictures.
Yeah.
We're going, the best way to do it, it's almost like I've heard people talk about emojis in the same sense as hieroglyphs.
Oh, okay.
It's not writing. It's not particular things. It's something that anybody can relate with, no matter what religion, race, background,
Math, even.
anything. You can look at an emoji and see a face frowning and going, oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Those are all yours, by the way.
I can connect with that. You know what I mean? So like the idea that hieroglyphs aren't necessarily their highest level of communication. It's the idea that they understood that they were building something that was hoping to last for thousands of years. And they had to go back to the base of communication to saying, you know what, we have to do it in pictures. So anybody can maybe someday put the pieces of this puzzle together.
It's insane, man, thinking about it all. Because before I listened to any of that stuff that you sent me, I just thought, oh, pyramids, Egypt, cool. But then you start looking at all this and you realize, like, I always thought that Stonehenge was like the shit. Like, oh, dude, that's the shit. Like, that's so old. But then Gobekli Tepe it blows it out of the water. And from not just an astrological standpoint, but from a time standpoint of an actual hard, like, how hard was it to create this? And then like the Easter Island, like statues and stuff like that, not just heads, because they believe it's a whole statue.
Right.
You and I were talking about Atlantis, about the Ice Age and about the water lines, and it's like people just we look at it like this because it's so convenient.
Narrow
Yeah,
focus.
it's so convenient to sit there and be like, oh, this is the only narrative, right? But when you start taking in everything, looking at the wider picture, right? So when the Ice Age, right, when there's a whole bunch of icebergs, right, think of it like a sponge. It sucks up all the water. and it holds it up into an iceberg or a big old ice thing that's like 3 miles deep, but like
Whatever that's called.
right, a glacier maybe, and then it's a
glacier.
and then it's 1,000.
Oh, you should have fucking said the word, Chad.
I know, sorry, but then the thing is like it holds all that water, so then you're sitting there at the coastal line, but the coastal line is 1,000 miles that, or not 1,000 miles, but like 100 miles that way, further than what it normally was. That's where your city is, because that's normally where the cities are, is by the water. So then something happens, an asteroid, boom, everything comes in, and it takes all those people away, and then it's eroded by water and time, and it's 1,000 feet under the water now. Who's going to dive down and see that?
Well, that was one of the most fascinating things that hit me with history and just the concept around all of that. When I guess personally realized that when you look at because I heard about the lost city of Atlantis,
right, we joke about it, but it's
so these people they're watching Ancient Aliens on Discovery Channel because they're fucking crazy. But when you think about if it has been established that the Earth has gone through an ice age, roughly 12,000 years ago, whatever it is, and an ice age would mean the world is cooler, which means that more water is ice, which would mean the poles of the Earth are big giant ice caps. So I mean, this is just basic science that has been recorded. So we have an Earth that has these giant ice caps, which means the water on the planet, we don't add or subtract to the water on the planet. It just gets moved around.
Well, some gets evaporated. Don't forget that. But it's not a large, huge amount.
Yeah, but not outside of the atmosphere for the most part.
Yeah, it does.
I mean,
go ahead. I don't want to. Sorry, I'm interrupting. Go ahead.
Right. For the most part, generally speaking, if everything is ice, if there's a lot of ice, that means there's less liquid water.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying.
Yes, I get it.
Right.
Go ahead.
So we have these giant ice caps. So that means more than likely the oceans that we envision would be much smaller than they are. Yep. So if the oceans are much smaller than they are and what we envision, that means that our shorelines on all the countries would be much further out. And, through even discussions with Jason Sheftel and talking about China and where are most of your people, condensed, it's along shorelines because that's where your ports are at. That's how you can trade with other communities for the most part. That's where typically you have water, the weather, fish, all these different things. The sources around there are much greater. So
even to this day, California, New
York, to this day,
Florida, Texas,
it's your eastern and western seaboards. Yeah. It's China on its southwest seaboard. It's these coastline cities. So now think about if you have these big ice caps and an asteroid or a couple big asteroids comes through and hits the North Pole or the South Pole.
And instantly pulverizes all the ice.
Liquidizes.
Into liquid, into vapor even.
Yeah, and vapor's even scarier probably.
Yeah, because it goes up in the atmosphere and then rains down. Yeah. I think they said the water level raised like 4,000 feet in a matter of days. Yeah. So you think of how many feet that is per hour.
It's almost a mile.
It's crazy.
So if you have that much water rushing over everything.
Yeah, you don't have time to pick up and go. Yeah,
it's a mass catastrophe.
Yeah.
And where does all that water go? Well, it's going to sit in the lowest spots, which is after a while, it's going to rise. Mm-hmm. It's going to raise the oceans. What happens to your sea edges? Just like people talk about now, California falling off into the ocean, Florida being underwater because of global warming, whatever it is.
Climate change.
Oh, that's right. It's climate change now. Yeah, because they can't call it global warming because it's not actually warming anymore. It's actually, but either way, whatever. We won't get on that. But you know what I mean? So now all of a sudden, a lost city of Atlantis really doesn't sound that crazy if you are able to expand your mental time frame of understanding what 8,000, 12,000, 20,000 years ago.
Prove it, Fred.
Dude, why would it sound that crazy if all of a sudden someone buried a city, Gobekli Tepe?
Prove it. That's the thing.
Right. So
we can't because it's underwater. We can't find it.
Right.
It's eroded. It's gone. People that didn't bury their societies got crushed by glaciers. You see what I'm saying? So it's prove it. Well, shit's gone because it got crushed.
The only people to tell the story are the ones that were left alive.
Right. The stories that we heard of Noah's Ark and stuff like that.
Yeah. So who knows? Do you want to get into my fun theories now.
Oh yeah, you're up. Go.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I talked for a bunch. Yeah. What?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
up?
Get to it.
So we don't know why it was covered, right?
What was covered?
The Gobekli
Tepe?
Tepe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know why.
Preservation of knowledge.
They didn't even
is your
know it was
best theory.
there.
Yeah. And they have discovered
Self-perseverance.
5% of it so far. So like
5?
it's 5%. That's
Five.
what
Oh,
it
hold on.
says.
Say they only what 5%?
They've only discovered 5% of it.
They've
They
only
believe that
unearthed.
there's
Unearthed.
or they've
Excavated?
unearthed. Yes.
Yeah,
So they believe
excavated.
that there's much more.
That's it.
That's what
because
this
it-
says.
Because
There's
they've done
95% left that we haven't even
Are
touched.
you sure it's only 5%?
That's what this one says.
Yeah. It's
Let me see what it
it's a
says.
pretty astounding number.
It's a big ass city that got buried.
It's like
Because
a
Gobekli
mountainside.
Tepe is huge right
Wild.
now. That's already been like
Oh,
uncovered.
yeah.
It's
I was
huge.
thinking like max.
This says the
15%.
1 acre excavation covers less than 5% of the site.
Well, 95% is left to be excavated.
Wait,
Theoretically.
Well, you said 1 acre.
This says he
1
says
acre, 5%.
archaeologists could dig
What's the
here
math
for
on that?
another
How
50
many
years
acres?
and barely scratch the
Wait.
surface.
I mean, 5%.
50.
times 1 acre would be.
Is it 50 acres? No.
You're messing me up.
Gosh, darn it. Hold on.
Maybe 20.
Is it 20?
If one,
19
Yeah.
acres left.
yeah, if 1 acre is 5%.
Yeah, if 1 acre is 5%,
5 times
it's
20 is 100.
Yeah.
So 20.
That's
acres.
from the
So 19 acres left because they already
Yeah.
excavated 1%.
Yeah, it's 20 acres.
So 19 left.
Well,
And that's just a footprint. That's not like the actual. That's not the volume.
Oh, sorry. That was in 2008, guys. Let me back
Yeah,
that
but-
up.
yeah, well,
Shit.
no,
So
yeah,
they
but-
had to have
So
excavated
that's-
more.
They probably have maybe 3 acres now.
No, but that's the thing. There's been
That's
a
just
lot
a
of
ratio
conflict.
analysis right there.
No, but there's a lot of conflict over in that area where they had to put it on pause.
So guards to, hey, we need to excavate
Well,
this. We don't want to get shot.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of that's why they put the dome over it because there's like literally like war going on right there.
Like I said,
And they're like, "Hey guys, could you try not to blow up something from our
so we
No,
can
ancestors
preserve.
13,000
No, I
years
thought
ago?"
it was actual weather because Graham was pissed about that.
Well, it's part of everything because
Okay.
Oh,
right
we
there on
talking
the edge-
Southwest Airlines now. What are we talking?
no,
No.
yeah, because they sit right on the. I mean, that area has been plagued with war forever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, weather partially, but like it's not safe to go there because it's right on the outskirts of these war-torn countries.
Really? Okay.
Oh yeah, even Egypt. Like a lot of
Dude,
people say,
Egypt's a
like,
shit show.
yeah,
I watched a video of a guy actually trying to like get a tour, and there was these basically scalpers trying to get his business to where the point where he's like, I don't want this. I'll find somebody else. The dude's freaking followed him, trying to get just basically like, we're gonna get this guy. If he goes to one of our competitors, we're gonna get him.
it's
And
wild. It's wild world out
It's
there.
nuts. So we were going down a history thing. We talked about Gobekli Tepe, the Egypt. We talked about the footprints. We talked about the water line, Mountain Jumbo, 4,000 feet. That's where a water line is
Right.
in the United States. That's where a water line exists of how high the water got, 4,000 feet above sea level. So we're talking about the Great Flood. We're talking about the Young Dryas, the asteroidal impact that melted the ice caps that raised everything really high up.
Yep.
Another fun fact is that I saw the other day. This is something you can do. Look at Google Maps or look at Apple Maps. Click on satellite mode. Look at your phone and look at the shape of the United States. Look at where it is. Louisiana. What's that called? The Delta,
Mhm.
right? It's a big, huge delta.
Yeah.
Look at it. There's actually a little circle, and they're talking about ice dams being broken, right? That causes flooding and things like that. I think Graham Hancock was talking about it with Randall Carlson. They're talking about these different waves and stuff like that on Earth, or at least in the United States, that we can see, proof of these huge floods and stuff like that. I mean, all this stuff is there, and we're basically scratching the surface, and everybody's like, yeah, I guess, maybe. We're ignoring our own history.
It's
But
wild.
but like if you literally go to your Apple map or whatever like that, you can see, what is it? You can see North America, man. There's something that's like it looks like there is a little circle or like a horseshoe, half
where
horseshoe,
everything kind of flooded,
and you can actually see right. What is it here? So look right here. You see how this is?
I don't know what you're trying to look at there, bro.
Well, there's Louisiana. So look up here.
Mm,
So
Do you see that?
topographical map there.
Topographical map, but
Probably better zoom in.
I know, but like you can see like there is a
See a lot of dots.
there's
See
a
how
I know
that's
that's
all-
all,
you got
that's
the
all
roads
state,
on.
that's all
you got the
state
city-
parks.
Yeah,
You know.
but so what you're trying to
But
say
look at
is
Alabama and Tennessee. Like you can actually see certain things from either the glaciers that were here.
right. So
Because there was glaciers up at the Great Lakes. That's where the glaciers settled and ended up melting. Right? Was the Great
right.
Lakes.
So I think what you're trying to say is looking at
there's a lot of shit that happened, man.
there's a lot of shit that happen on an Earth basis when you can zoom way out and try to disconnect from the planet that we walk around on in your home
Gulf
and
of
like what you see
Mexico.
every day.
Yeah.
You zoom way out,
Yeah.
like way out, and you realize that this. I'm gonna use some liberties here. We're gonna pretend.
Sorry, I go really fast with this. 'Cause
No, it's fine.
So, it's so fascinating.
Yeah, we're gonna pretend
Okay.
that even if it's real, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if the Earth is flat, round.
I think you're looking for the word assume.
Whatever. But we're going to pretend that we are on this semi-spherical chunk of rock
Mhm.
orbiting a sun, orbiting this ball of gas for millions of miles in this galaxy. The galaxy is orbiting a black hole because they kind of have that theory that like in the center of every galaxy is a black hole.
Yeah.
So we're doing the orbiting around the ball of gas and burning bullshit in space, and then our solar system is orbiting this black hole in the galaxy, and this galaxy is orbiting the universe and all these, and it's expanding, all these different things. Looking at this little chunk of rock that just happens to sit just far away enough from the sun, but not too far to be too cold.
Oh yeah.
And
The Goldilocks thing.
the Goldilocks zone, we're in the Goldilocks zone where we have an atmosphere, we have all these things, but at the same time, like that ball of whatever is going through so much. What's an earthquake? Well, it's literally the surface of this ball of rock shifting around as it moves. That's what an earthquake is.
Yeah.
We have all this water. We have all these different catastrophes. We know that we
have a
quote,
magnetic field.
Yeah, we have we have a moon that circulates us because of this magnetic field. We know, quote unquote, that dinosaurs were at one point here and they're extinct.
Waves in the ocean caused by the moon.
Yeah, so like we
Holy
know
shit.
like all
There's
these
all kinds
different
of cool
things
stuff.
are happening.
Yeah.
So when you zoom out to that level and forget about yourself, and you look at what if there was an ice age that most scientists agree with 14,000 years ago, or 12,000 years ago, when this impact hit, caused the sea levels to rise. And these people that were alive at that time, maybe if they had been alive since 22,000 years ago, or 23,000 years ago, that the footprints are found in North America. This is just a guesstimation now. So 23,000 years ago, this person that we just found footprints from in New Mexico was walking around doing whatever. 10,000 years ago, 10,000 years from that, they're like, they knew so much because they'd been here for so long that, oh shit, we're about to have this giant asteroidal
Something's
impact.
going to happen.
Something's going to happen. We need, because
the stories are heard from our ancestors. We've
from
known.
before then.
Right. And before then, because we're on a 21,000 year cycle.
Yeah.
Oh, it's about, my Apple Watch is telling, okay, it's about time. There's the Earth right there.
So if you suspend, your belief for a little bit, for whatever it is, and think about if we have decided that we have footprints from a person, that was I hit this thing. So what if we suspend all beliefs, religious, whatever you believe, and think about 22,000 years ago, this person made this fossil imprint. And then within that 10,000 years, they were able to have the technology increases and everything else to realize there's an asteroidal impact coming. We have to find a way to tell people about this and to give them some kind of forewarning. So we build all these monolithic structures and whatever it might be, and then we bury it.
Oh, yeah.
Because the only way to really protect something is to bury it completely underground or
'Cause
to
you-
make it out of
yeah.
stone.
Because when the asteroid hits, it's going to melt the glaciers. And then we didn't even talk about how the glaciers get there in the first place. I know that freaking gnats drive me nuts. Did you get it?
I don't know.
I think you got it. Anyways,
I
how
don't
the
know.
glaciers even get there in the first place. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. We didn't even touch on that, which honestly,
But
part of
even that, like,
part of your
does
Earth-
it matter?
it does, but it does because listen. So part of your Earth history I was listening to, and they said there was mammoths that they found flash frozen with food still in their stomach digesting.
Right.
They didn't just die like, oh, we're just gonna die. Oh, there's a tar pit. Oh no, it was
yeah.
it was boom. They were
Instantly.
mid chomp, dude, and they were like, what? Boom, and they froze instantly.
Mhm.
What the hell causes that, dude? Who
my
knows?
only guess would be an impact enough where it blocked out the sun.
But that would make it cold. That would make it warm.
No,
I think an
wouldn't
impact
it
that-
make it cold as fuck, bro?
No, I think an impact that strips away our atmosphere.
Maybe. But
'Cause
even then, if you put enough crap in the atmosphere, like a
Yeah.
volcano explosion,
Yeah.
blocks out the sun.
Yeah, but it's not going to make it. No,
make
it's
it
not
cold.
It's not.
Yeah,
It's not
would.
because go in a cave. How warm is it in a cave?
Yeah, but that's
54
different.
degrees or something like that?
That's different though. You're talking about very local place close to the center of the earth.
All right. When you get in a sleeping bag, are you cold or hot?
But you're talking about
You're insulating.
over time.
You're insulating it.
You're talking about over time though. I'm talking about over time. When the sun is
Yeah.
not as directly impactful over time, what happens? It gets cold. Northern hemisphere in the winter, the sun's tilted away. We don't see as much sun, and we're not as close to the sun. So over
All right.
time,
Yep.
So you think
I'll
about
change, I'll change my mind. Yeah.
even a week.
Yeah. Okay.
So these things were say
Yep.
say these things were in the northern hemisphere. The impact happens. They don't see sun for a week.
Yep.
That would get real cold.
No,
in a
I'm
week.
with you.
You know what
That
I
makes
mean?
sense. Yep.
But yeah, like I said, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
No, it makes sense.
the idea that these people could potentially see this coming and bury these signs for the future. Because even right now, this is another thought I have. If we wanted to leave something for somebody
Time capsule.
10,000 years in the future, how would you do it?
Put it in stone. Encase it in stone.
And then what would you do with it?
Bury it.
Because anything else,
It's gone.
the chances are much less likely to survive.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what it is. I've been reading all kinds of theories, and I
she
think
sucks.
there are different ones.
Oh, there's many different ones, but that's when
This one sounds reasonable, that because they didn't find any proof that anybody was actually like settled there. They haven't found any proof of that at all.
Wait,
None.
what? At Gobekli Tepe?
Yeah,
No, not settled.
that
'Cause
they haven't
there's-
settled there.
No, I understand that too.
So
Hmm. much
this
time we got, by the
makes
way?
sense.
Probably because they made it, they buried it, and they're like, we gotta go back home to our families
fuck
because
outta
the
here.
world's gonna end.
No,
shit's gonna
so
hit.
I think that it was a religious
Jim Jonestown?
sanctuary or whatever. So then they
Jonestown.
say that there are examples in many cultures where objects or buildings considered to have supernatural or divine power must be destroyed or neutralized if they're no longer in use. So theory is that a new religion came where it shifted and they were like, we have to abandon or repurpose this.
They drank the Kool-Aid and they're
No,
like, we're out.
I get what you're
This
saying.
is a solid. I mean, I'm not saying I'm reading it, but it sounds like it could definitely be a thing.
No, see, that's where I disagree. Because who made something before that?
People.
Yeah, but where is it?
I think it's
I'm not
grounded-
saying that there's
Yeah.
not other things out there that we haven't discovered yet.
All right, well, here's the thing. So if you have a 1992 Honda Civic, or let's say a 19...
This is a
19
1984 Honda. How dare you?
Right. So it's a 1984 Honda. We sit it in the front of your yard, right? It's already covered in rust, and we sit it out in front of your yard. And I have one in the garage, right? I still maintain it. I still wash it, but the one in front of your yard, you don't. In 20 years from now, or 40 years from the day it was built, which one's still going to be there? The one I washed, maintained, and keep in my garage.
Much preserved.
Right, the one that's preserved. Doesn't matter. It's still outside. It's still not. Maybe it's in a garage, but it's still
Yeah,
driving
you
on the road.
cared for it
I
so
cared
much.
Right. I
that you
polished it.
preserved it.
It's my pet, right, or whatever it is. It puts the lotion on the skin. But
Hose against the hose again.
yeah, exactly. I love that. I love that movie. But anyways, but the thing is like, if you care for one thing and not the other, the one thing will degrade and go away. We already talked about that. We already covered it. Are you gonna get that? Oh, I
Man.
think you. anyways, so the thing is where is it all at? It's already in the ground. It's already been reabsorbed. So we're never going to know that. The glacier's probably ground it to a pulp. Not a big deal. They talked about it with Joe Rogan. You know, basically they talked about the glaciers coming and how heavy those things were because they're like 2 miles deep. It actually pushed the granite and limestone, everything down.
Yeah, what did those things destroy?
And then, but the cool thing about it is though too, is it was so heavy it pushed it down. Is once they melted or moved away, they actually started rising back up.
Or
they
something else
decompressed, right? So they see islands now that are actually rising up. What the hell's causing that? Oh, it's right there. Smack that damn thing. Yes. All right.
Win.
Okay. But so there's so many things. Basically, what you're saying, there's so many things, so many factors that we don't even know about that it could be. Right. So to sit there and put a stamp on it and be like, nope, nobody survived past 20,000 years ago. That's it. Done. Because we can't find anything.
It's so silly.
It is. It's closed-minded. It's closed-minded. We shouldn't be closed-minded.
Yes. That's fantastically done, Chad.
Yeah.
I love that because that's what it all really comes back to me is.
Yeah.
We don't know. And the experts,
so don't be ignorant enough to say that.
And I love saying this, but the experts have always been wrong. If you give enough time,
you can't transmit it if you have the vaccine.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go there.
I'm just saying, no, but that's something everybody can relate.
But that's
so 12 months ago. What did we say about all this? Well, we said that it was only for old people. Oh, then not 12 months ago. Oh, it was only in China. Oh, it was only like a few cases. Oh, it's 10 days. Dude, it's
15 days.
Listen, open your damn mind. Stop sitting there telling me that my theory may be wrong because I saw this over here. It may be right, dude. But the thing is the puck changes. The goalpost changes. Don't sit there and close your mind enough to say, no. Pregnant women, 100% safe. CDC says it. NIH is doing a study on it, but CDC says it's safe. So we need to make sure that we only listen to the CDC. Dude, shut up. Open your damn mind. Realize that there's other cases that may be other factors that at play that you don't know about. Don't be ignorant enough and closed-minded enough to say, nope, CDC said it, so that's it.
Yeah, well, I think that's the biggest point is where it comes to using your words appropriately at the appropriate time. Because we have done plenty of times on this podcast, said some ridiculous, stupid shit. Because it's fun.
It is so much
and it's
fun.
A good time to say, to this day, I think Dusty and the Champ are the best examples of some ridiculous shit we said.
In Miles.
I told Miles, I texted him
after
that
beat.
episode.
You may have gotten beat.
I told him, I was like, sorry, Miles. I think you may have gotten beat for the most ridiculous episode ever. He's like, fuck, God damn it. Yeah.
Come back on.
Yeah, but there's times where we can't to pretend to be absolute. You can't. If you want to pretend, if you think you are an absolutely true, honest, everything you think that's this is an absolute on this thing. Well, what happens if I give you more information?
In order to progress, you must have an open enough mind to realize that you may not be 100% right. Yeah. You have to be willing to accept other avenues that aren't currently present. Because if not, if you close your mind, then you are not going to ever proceed or progress. You can't. You're unable to progress because you think that it's absolute. That's it.
Yeah,
you won't progress. It is stopping you. And actually, when you close your mind and you're like, nope, that's it. Gobekli Tepe, that's the oldest thing. Never going to change. You close your mind and you're actually coming back. You're actually becoming dumber because. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden somebody says, well, guess what?
Found some footprints, bitch.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. That's not right. That's not right. That's not right. Gobekli Tepe is the oldest. And it's like you get in this circular argument because you're embarrassed about it. And then you never can progress. Be willing to accept it. Go forward. Open your damn mind.
Yeah. No, you know what? I'm even okay with saying it's all about how the words you use and how you view them and how you view yourself. You know what? I'm okay with somebody taking the approach of I'm 80% right. I know that I'm 80% right.
Give yourself a little grace.
But leave a little bit of space to be proven wrong. Because if you're never proven wrong, that means you're not learning anything. And if
you have to fail to learn.
And I guarantee anybody listening to this or anybody around the world is not the smartest person. It's like the whole thing of, guess what? There's always somebody smarter.
Yep.
There's always somebody faster. There's always somebody stronger. There's always somebody nicer. There's always somebody that's something more than what you are. Mm-hmm. And that's not a bad thing.
No.
That should be a good thing. That should be a thing to go, to look for those people and to say, and even if there's always somebody more eccentric or has more imagination or has a completely different view on whatever it is, like you should seek those people out.
Yeah.
And go, hey, what do you think? What do you think? What? And, oh, that's a crazy ass thought, but that's interesting. Like, I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Because what are you losing when you don't give people the audience that are different than you?
Well, and what's stopping you? It's fear.
Yeah.
It's
Of
just fear.
Being wrong,
Yeah.
of not being, whatever it is. Like,
Tony, you've been quiet, dude. Scaring me. How are those combos?
She's listening.
All right.
She's listening.
Nice lure.
so what do you think of here? How lay it on you, Tony? This is the one piece I don't think I've ever talked about. We'll bring it back to the Gobekli Tepe.
Can't wait.
We
keep going like
that's fine. That's
we're
what this is.
churning, but it's
fantastic. I don't give a shit.
All right.
It's a great time. So we've talked about we have
Is it
footprints.
aliens?
This is where it's going.
Go.
Okay. So we've talked about we have footprints in New Mexico 20,000 years ago.
23,000 years ago.
23,000 years ago. Sorry. Thank you.
Get
sir.
it right, Fred. Damn.
Yeah, I know. Then we have Gobekli Tepe.
Yep.
First, 13,500 years ago.
Okay.
We have the Egyptian pyramids, the Sphinx, which have been believed to be 6,000 to 8,000 years ago, but I would argue
Not
that
more
they
than
are
10.
also older than 13,000 years ago.
I believe so too. I concur.
So we have this big event at 12,000 years ago, roughly.
You guys touching tips or?
Maybe. We had this big event at 12,000 years ago. Yeah.
Can I touch your muscles?
Yeah. So, yeah. That's how it all started.
I know.
So we had this big event at 12,000 years ago.
Yep.
Where you look at geology and all these different things that
It's an
ice-
epicenter. Something happened.
yeah, something
Yeah.
happened 12,000 years
Yep.
ago. The ice caps potentially
Something got on fire.
Thawed.
Something happened. Yeah, whatever.
big thing.
Yeah. Something.
Oceans rose. Most
Shit
people
got real.
Shit got real. Most people live in coastal cities. The oceans rose, completely engulfed them. No more coastal cities. But these people had the technology and the knowledge enough to build these monolithic structures and
Mhm.
communities that are uniquely aligned astrophysically,
Yep. Astronomically.
astronomically, not astrology, because astrology is the weird people that believe in I don't know. Whatever it is.
They're the weird people.
Yeah, right.
We're pretty weird.
I'm right. Sorry. Not weird. So all these different things are aligned with the stars. So that means they
Literally.
had some kind of knowledge.
Literally.
With the stars.
Yeah.
They had some kind of knowledge, right? And then they buried Gobekli Tepe.
Okay.
All these different things that could be interpreted as showing us a sign,
Oh, you're getting to okay.
right?
You're getting to your theory.
I'm getting to my theory here.
All right, baby. Damn
So
it. Is this different?
if you had all these
All right.
technology, you had this group of people that had so much foreknowledge and technology that they were able to build these structures, able to know they had to bury it, all these different things. What if maybe they went to space? If we knew, like Elon Musk says, we have this
Ooh.
catastrophe coming,
Took a turn.
we would go to that's why we need to
Oh,
be an interplanetary
yes.
species, right?
Oh, I agree with you on this. Go for it.
Okay.
How much time we got? Because I'll make it quick.
No, yeah. So no, hold on. Let me. I have never
But-
parsed this thought out before, so let me do it.
Are you going Mars?
So
Yes or no?
I'm not going that far.
Damn it.
I'm leaving the people with something.
I'm going to take it there.
Something. Okay, that's fine. But so what if this species was like, you know what? We need to get off the Earth. We need to do
GTFO.
something. We need to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
We need to go. We need to be an interplanetary species because this rock, blah blah, whatever. But
And we never know because it all got ground down and eroded over time.
right,
If
because
it was
we've talked
if it was
about
a Sphinx launch.
if you
Yeah,
if you
metal
leave
gone.
if you leave something here,
all right.
that's pretty much toast for the
Anyways,
most part.
Yes.
So, what do you got? Jeez.
She's saving this stuff.
Or at the same time, maybe they left something. This is maybe even a little wilder. Maybe they left something inside the Earth.
That's what she said.
So a couple of these thoughts of maybe this is why one of the reasons that we have the stories of like the lost Atlantis, all these different things, and also that we are encountering these objects that we don't know what they are. We don't know how they move. These UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, because they're not UFOs anymore.
I know that changed too.
But they're going in and out of space in the ocean without any interference. And these seems to be these vessels or whatever that are in the ocean as well.
All right.
So maybe there are like drones left inside of the Earth. I don't think there's a civilization inside the Earth.
Oh, kind of like the video game that we played, those drones. What's the damn game?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. The
The
Sentries.
space game.
The Sentries. They're called Sentries.
Yeah, like there's pieces of technology that are left behind that are buried inside the ocean that can come out, and that are just a little drone to watch. Hey, what's going on? Oh, you guys figured out nuclear technology again?
Like WALL-E, the movie.
Damn it, bro! It's like you know what nukes do? They blow shit up, and don't.
We're gonna have
Earth.
to tell the people that are off Earth about it.
Yeah, there's so many different theories you could branch off of that.
Mm-hmm.
That
okay,
maybe these civilizations beforehand that had such foresight to build structures that wouldn't be demolished by time because they're built out of stone and granite could present a message forward through time when they were found. Maybe that's what these things are.
Where'd they go? Where'd the people go?
Oh, I'm not
You ready
crazy
for me to pick
enough
up where you're at?
Sure.
Okay.
You're gonna go further on.
No, I'll make it really quick.
I'm just saying. I think.
And we can expand it. We can expand it upon it at a different podcast.
Real quick though. I think that's a reasonable, logical explanation if you look at all of the. I'm not saying it's explainable, but it's a logical explanation if these people had 10,000 years of peace and technology to develop these giant monolithic structures that have developed over time, been covered intentionally, and had technology that even today we go, wow, this is impressive. Maybe they knew it was coming.
Well, even if they didn't know. So I'm going to go fast because, again, I don't know how much time we got. But so if you think about this, let's say they had advanced technology. They created all this stuff, and they utilized certain tools or machines or things like that to do it. We talk about anti-gravity machines. We talk about gravity propulsion, things like that. So let's say they had all these different things, right? Let's really get crazy with it. That's how they built the pyramids. That's how they did all of it. We're just going to assume and just
They could have
for
built
fun.
that shit in a day.
Yeah, let's say they did. Well, maybe not a day because it's a lot.
Yeah, a couple
right?
months.
But you have to think about speed and everything like
Right.
that. But let's say that they did that. They used that to build it. They were like, here's their stuff. This is our people that are on there. Let's say that there was an advanced civilization and there was a less advanced civilization. Think of Hunger Games, right? You've got the people that have the food and the have-nots.
the power.
There's always people that have and have-nots, right? So let's say that was the case. We're going to give them Prometheus. We're going to float him a bone. Prometheus got his ass kicked basically for doing that, right? Because Prometheus had the technology and the information. And he said, hey, let me share with you guys some information and technology. And they basically kicked his butt for doing it, right? But that was a historical story that had happened. So let's say that's literal. Let's say Prometheus was like, hey, check out this flying freaking vehicle, right? Check out my spaceship, bro. They're like, the fuck? We just figured out how to do fire last year and you're showing us a spaceship? The heck's that all about? But the thing is like if they showed us a spaceship today, we'd go, oh yeah, I saw that thing launched at NASA last week. Or yeah, Elon Musk, whatever.
The understanding of the technology. That
Right,
you're
exactly.
able to
And the
comprehend.
thing is that's actually in cave paintings or cave carvings as well, is people that are on spaceships.
It could be interpreted that way.
Bro,
I won't say.
come on, tell me that's not what it is. Seriously, look at it.
I
There's
know.
somebody sitting there like this.
I'm not going to
with
go
a rocket behind him
full.
going.
I'm not going to go full ancient aliens with the hair on.
but literally look at it.
But that's what I'm saying.
How did that come up in the
No,
head?
I'm not saying that's not it.
Okay.
I'm just saying that's not.
So
That doesn't prove that is it.
I'm okay with both.
So I'm trying to trail off what you said. So we have all that technology, and then we're like, okay, you've got the people that the slave race, whatever like that we've had do all these things, and we're like, all right, listen, guys, we're gonna roll out. So you guys, God be with you. You know, whatever that means to you. Here's your beer. Peace. We're rolling. There's some knowledge and information right there. We're going that way. Where'd you guys go? Right? To space? Then what? Who knows? Right? But where did you come before that to end up on Earth? Look at Venus. Venus is covered in gas, right? Toxic gas. Let's get real crazy here. Let's say
crazy.
But let's say that
We haven't already done that.
I know, but really, and again, I don't want to do
You
this.
guys still haven't brought it back around for Ant to
I'll do it real quick.
really come to terms and speak
Why'd they bury it?
No, just Fred was like, Tony, wait, what do you think about all this?
Oh, the Gobekli
And you guys
Tepe
never
way.
gave him the like.
He's been getting his drinks, dude.
No, I just mean within the last like
I'm listening.
5
I'm
minutes,
listening.
Fred was like, I'm gonna bust all this out.
I did.
I'm gonna
No,
come
we
with
got,
took over.
we got
Yeah,
excited.
so you need to
I
give
got so
Ant
excited.
like
It's all right.
the
I'm
mic.
still listening.
I just want to see what he says.
All right.
I don't know. Do you know where you're going with it?
What do you think about all this shit, dude?
I'm not going anywhere. I'm just listening.
What was your? Because you were asking about burying, like why? they
Yeah,
buried it.
no, I mean that's and you were like, hey, there was some knowledge that we wanted to preserve.
Honestly, I feel like I answered why
He
they
did.
would've
But-
Fred
buried-
did.
No, you said, Tony, I'm gonna put all this out for you, and you went from 23,000 years ago, boom, 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 in order, and you're like, I've never pieced this together before. I've never said it out loud. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put it in your lap, and then you can speak to it. And then Chad took over, and you
Oh,
never
that's
let
true.
I'm
Ant
sorry.
actually
Tony,
like.
that's true. Tony
talk
has
about
never
this.
actually spoken
The
to
whole.
Where are you at
I've
on this,
never even
bro?
heard the whole
Madness.
Elon Musk thing. So
Dude, I'm at the
just-
Rashat structure, the Lascaux cave paintings. Like I'm all over the place here. Like I'm thinking of all these different things right now.
Has it got you thinking though? I mean,
Oh, always, man. Like this whole podcast, obviously, the kind of curiosity thing gets me thinking. I don't know.
right.
Like I don't take a deep dive like you guys do, just because I'm so focused on the things I do in the here and now. And so, unfortunately, I don't have. And I'm not saying you guys have more time than me, but it is a slight possibility that you might have more time than me to ponder some of these things, which I may be slightly jealous of,
All right,
which I enjoy.
So, all right. Either way,
But what do you
let's-
think about what we've said
Let's
so far?
let's break this off real quick.
Yeah.
I want to settle this. This is a long-standing.
I still have to talk
beef.
about Mars. Just
That's
heads
no,
up.
yeah. Well, Venus.
a beef?
Oh, Venus.
Not-
Venus.
a beef?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a beef.
A beef?
A little bit of
Hey.
bit of a beef. So,
Don't be having no beefs over
no,
there.
not that kind of beef. I'm
All
not
right.
want to try to.
Oh, like this kind of beef.
No,
Got it.
Oh, I was like,
So-
we gonna fight each other right now,
little,
Fred?
little bit of
Who's got the bigger biceps? I just want to know right
I
now.
him
think-
for sure.
I think Fred's.
I don't
Fred's
think
a
so.
little
I can do
jacked
more
up right
push-ups
now.
than you for
A
sure.
little bit of a beef.
I'd take that bet right now.
I did it last time.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
A little bit of a
No, not on Fred.
So-
against me.
I don't,
Oh.
I don't know any of that. Let's wait.
Wait, you're talking about push-ups?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How many can do?
There's only one way to find out.
After the podcast, we'll go.
It's far away.
I-
Why not on the podcast?
By the way,
on the
oh,
table on the
No,
podcast.
not on the. We have a
I
lot,
was
too
gonna
much
say,
stuff to
too
clean
much.
off the
Next
table.
podcast, we'll do it live. I'll train. I'll do 30 days.
I'll train.
I'll do 300
You
push-ups a
train
day for
now.
30 days.
It's all right. I don't need any training. I'm ready to go right
Well,
now.
I am too, bitch.
It's far away on the table, as Cassie said.
Can I take my shirt
Okay.
off? Go ahead.
You take whatever you want off. No homo. Okay. Far away with what you were saying. 'cause
So-
you're about to hit me with something deep
Yes.
and controversial. it
Not
sounded
necessarily
like.
deep, but controversial. A little bit of a beef.
That's what she said.
The
Every-
beef.
Every single time.
The
beef.
beef was deep.
Every single time. Now, most of the times I bring up aliens.
You do
Or-
not most of the time.
I
Every
haven't. No. Last
We got
half a year.
60% of the time, all the time.
Yeah.
Panther sex.
Yeah, so
Yes. Can you do that again?
stop it. Stop it. I'm trying to get a point across.
Mufasa.
Don't you ever say that.
Mufasa.
When I brought the flat Earth up, all these things.
Yeah.
The flat Earth is absolutely.
Yeah, that's
ridiculous.
a stretch.
But
That's,
aliens,
No,
all
it's
these
not-
things, you've always balked. But
I don't
after
balk. I
Let the
You'll
man
not-
I
finish.
just smirk.
yeah, so after what I've presented with historical and things that could be
Critical thinking.
qualified by mainstream scientists, which we have obviously gotten to the part where we we obviously don't believe necessarily all mainstream scientists, but with actual science and all the things and my crazy theories, do you think my theories of aliens and all of the different shit I joke about is as crazy as you used to think it was crazy?
So I think that's an assumption on your part there, my friend.
Well,
You're
when
asking if his mind has changed.
Hold on.
Well, yeah, because he gives me these fucking shit-faced look.
But
fucking
you would have to actually ask my original opinion in the first place, which you've actually never done.
Yeah, because when you're like,
I got this,
bro.
Tony, what
I
did
don't
you
wanna
think
be here for
when the
this.
podcast first started?
Because maybe I want to make it interesting. Maybe I want to make it
You
interesting.
sound like a
elusive.
doubter.
So
Sound like a hater, bro.
I do doubt to a degree, just because there's no.
What do you doubt?
The whole alien thing.
What about it?
The fact that
They exist?
that they exist, that we've seen them, that they're there. But I doubt because I haven't seen. It doesn't mean that I don't believe, because conversely, I would have to go, well, we haven't seen, and it hasn't been disproven, which we've had that conversation on our earlier podcast too.
Right.
So it's difficult for me to like. I hope I understand. I pitched this to you in the last podcast about feelings. You're like, well, you can't see them, but you understand them, love to a great extent. And so I understand that. And obviously, like, I haven't seen these aliens, but it doesn't mean that they don't exist. And so the possibility that they exist, it's there. Have I seen them? I have not. Does it mean they don't exist? It does not. So they possibly could exist. Would I put a percentage on that? I would not. Maybe one day I'll see them, I'll meet them. Hopefully it'd be fantastic. Maybe they have a greater understanding of knowledge than we do, and I could learn from them if they exist. My best answer, Fred, is I don't know. Am I open to the possibility that they exist? I certainly am. Is it closed off? It is not.
I got it.
Percentage-wise, I would still have to go 50-50. If you can give me some more evidence, possibly, but the fact that the evidence therein doesn't lie that they don't exist, I would have to go with the other 50% at this point.
Oh, so you're choosing that they don't because you don't have evidence.
I'm
that they
not.
do?
I'm right smack dab in the middle.
Well, you
Fred.
said you'd have to go with the other 50.
Well, that the other 50, the 50% itself exists with the other 50%.
Okay, I'm okay with 50.
So it's a teeter-totter of a balancing scale, 50% at this point.
So I'm okay with that. And I'm good with that. And I want to say real quick, because I need to squash this. Not squash. I agree. I'm in the same way.
Yeah.
The same thing with I don't know.
Well, dude, that's why
If I don't
that's
say
why
that the
that's
earth
why
is flat thing.
that's
joke.
why I shit talk you about the dick sucking stuff that we had on the last podcast.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, yeah, I'm 50-50 on that.
Apparently I
And
need
you're
to listen to that.
0 to 100, obviously.
No, 0 to 0.
0 to 0. Well, obviously, I'm saying like
Yeah.
would not. You're
Well, no.
100% would not. 0%
No,
would.
Fred,
Gun to my head.
I don't know. I cannot
$100 million.
I cannot prove it one way or another.
What, that you would suck your dick
it was
or
a
those
million, not
aliens?
100 million.
Oh yeah,
No,
sorry,
no, the
million.
aliens.
Oh.
I cannot prove either way, one way or another, that they do not exist. So the fact that I do not have absolute proof that they don't exist, I would be foolhardy to say that they don't exist.
Okay, I'm good with that.
The fact that I don't have proof that they do exist, I would be foolhardy to say that they do exist.
I absolutely.
So therefore,
I'm there.
the teeter-totter of the balancing act would have to align at the 50% at this
I
point.
appreciate it. And that's where my theories lie in with all of the historical evidence of Gobekli Tepe, all the things
Sure,
we talked about,
sure.
that
It's very
this could
very
be a
interesting for sure.
theory of
Yeah.
why we are living and understanding the history and everything that's happening.
Well, dude, that's
the
why
way
I would
we are
even
now.
entertain you and chat on this subject. If I thought it was
You did stick around.
if I thought it was
I thought
absolute
you'd be gone by now.
complete
for sure.
fucking bullshit, I literally would have left.
I figured
You know
you'd
I
be
would have
gone.
left.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm not going to stick around for something I
yeah.
don't think there's merit in gaining knowledge on.
Well, what I was going to say about Venus, you
Yes.
probably would.
Yeah. So I'm glad we quashed that. Venus.
No, the question was, has your mind changed since the beginning of the podcast? Not this podcast, but all the podcasts. Has it shifted towards more, oh, this is maybe not bullshit, or Are you still in the same predicament? You're like, yeah,
Well,
it's 50-50.
I never had a bullshit perspective. So like if I can't
That's not the way you pretended towards me.
no, I just didn't overtly state it, but you also didn't ask the question, Fred. If you asked the question, I would have directly
This
answered.
technical guy.
No, not
I
technical at all.
I asked
And
the
I know
question
you directly asked
He's
the question.
asking. He's
Yeah,
asking
I
a
know.
question.
I know. He's directly asking the question.
Yeah.
No. If you would have asked me, I would have given you a direct answer. I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical on both fronts. The fact that
it's
it
real or
does
not
exist
real.
and the fact that
Yeah.
it doesn't exist.
This
Cop
guy
out.
should be
And
a
so
politician.
that's why I'm
Yeah, no
trying
shit.
to no, I'm
Pussy.
trying to ascertain as much information based on what you guys are providing me with. What Cass is Googling here. I'm trying to make some decisions. Doesn't mean I'm ever going to land on one side or the other,
I appreciate
but it means I'm
Yeah.
curious,
I appreciate
which is what this entire
Yeah.
podcast is
So,
about.
so take it back and think about it in your own time, because the thing is too is when you hear a brand new thing, a brand new theory arise, it takes time to really understand that. I mean, you and I talked a little bit about faith on the phone
True.
the other day,
True.
and the thing about faith is it's believing in something that's not real, or
Yeah.
not real, but not physically there.
You can't. I mean, it's
You
not.
can't
it's
Not
ascertain
not
that.
in front of
physically
you.
provable.
But the thing is we have enough things in our lives that have shown us
Yeah.
that maybe it is there. But as Jesus Christ walked across this table and was like, "What up, dudes? I'm gonna get another thing of bourbon. I'll be right back." No, he hasn't.
It's my homeboy.
Right. What up, bro? But the thing is like that didn't happen, and he hasn't in our presence. But we've got stories and books and things that have shown that it has. But
True.
again, you can look at that and you can doubt it all you want. Well, that didn't happen last week, so it's not real. That didn't happen yesterday, so it's not real. The thing is at some point in time, you have to have either faith that it's true or faith that it's not. Either way. Or you can be open to both.
Or I think, and that's where I'm at. I think you can be open to both ends of the spectrum and allow yourself to explore
You have
all
to.
of the different aspects of that spectrum.
Mhm.
And I'm entirely supportive of people that want to believe either end of the spectrum. You know, you want to be a believer in Jesus Christ or Muhammad or Buddha or, you know, Zeus, whatever it is, whatever you want to do, guess what? That's your prerogative.
Mhm.
You can believe in anything or nothing or whatever. But as long as you are able to entertain, not even necessarily entertain, to listen to and discuss all the other options, even if you believe in the opposite end of the spectrum that I do, if you can't sit down and have a conversation like this,
Yeah.
and be able to say, okay, this is why, even if we because we obviously don't disagree necessarily on the whole Egypt's and, you know,
No, but
the pyramids.
We may on faith though. Or on
absolutely.
religion.
But
Who
if you can sit down with somebody and just have the conversation of, hey, like, here's an idea, and that other person's like, well, I think that's a little bit crazy, and you're like, well, I didn't say it wasn't.
When we were
But,
playing
you know, like-
virtual golf, we were talking about legalizing drugs.
Right.
I looked at you like you were crazy, and I was like, Fred, no. And then you talked to me a little bit, and I was like, it's changed my mind. It's Steven Crowder changed my mind, right? Things like that happen all the time. We have to be able to communicate about things, and we have to be open to, I'm not the smartest guy in the room. And even if I am, some kid over there could say, but have you thought about this? And you go,
Yeah.
oh, and you have to humble yourself. Take a big old bite of humble pie and be like, oh, damn, I didn't know that maybe that's a thing.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to change what your beliefs are. You know, I think beliefs.
And fear is real.
Oh yeah, like all these
know?
different things. I think that's really when it comes down to, at the end of the day, are you able to have a conversation with somebody? Are you able to agree to disagree? Are you able to entertain that other person's thoughts?
Some people can't.
And not only entertain their thoughts, but I think a good friend would not only entertain the thoughts, but say, well, even if it's, I think you're wrong, this is why. And then maybe you give that person a chance to explain themselves a little more. And then you could go, oh, I didn't think about it. That's okay. Now I get it. Okay. Now I understand what you're saying. I still think you're wrong, but I understand where you're coming from.
So-
and I appreciate that.
So
Like, that's
yeah.
what needs,
I,
like,
I had a, so gosh darn it, man, we're getting back on this like person thing, but I have a friend that I had a disagreement with, right? I'm not going to go to details because I respect him. I love him, care about him. I really do. And we had a disagreement. Really, it was they posted something, and it was CDC says, whatever, pregnant women should get the shot. Just do it, right? And I said, you're a healthcare professional. I said, the NIH just came out and said that they're doing a study based on pregnant women getting the shot and what the adverse effects may be. Well, 2 different government agencies, one said it's absolutely safe and it's an urgent need, get the shot, all pregnant women. The other one says, hey, we're going to study to see if it actually has any effects negatively on pregnant women. Well, why are there 2 different agencies? One saying there is, one saying there's not. That question was posed and I was told, shut up and sit down. Sit down and shut up. You do not need to ask me about that. That is not the case. Facts do not lie. Do not reply.
Oh.
And
And
you
I-
still respect that person?
Well,
You're a better
but
person than
here-
me, Chad.
No, I forgive them.
Facts don't lie,
No,
but
no,
guess
no.
what?
No, but
Facts are able to.
No, but here's the thing, Fred. Here's the difference. I forgive those people because they are in an echo chamber that tells them, shut up and sit down. The thing about your podcast and you per se is you and me may disagree with something, but we're willing to sit there and talk about it and say, well, what brings you to that conclusion? Well, let's talk about it. Hey, I respect you. Gosh, that's really out there. But oh man, how did you get to that? First and foremost, I respect you. And it has to be about respect and love and kindness and then move on past that because you may think that PCP should be legal. We talked about drugs and shrooms and stuff. You've changed my mind on shrooms and DMT and ayahuasca and shit like that. Never thought I'd be. And I told my mom the other day, I'm like, Mom, I want to do shrooms. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I want to do like 7, like a heroic dose of shrooms, you know? And like, we talked about this and I'm like,
I don't even know if I want to do that.
you have to if I do. And we have to film it, but not show anybody, you know? And the thing is though, is like,
For research purposes.
I can arrange that.
okay, great. So, but the thing is like, we talked about that. We had a respect about that. And some people are unable to have a respect about things and topics because it's so near and dear to their heart. I think that is limiting them. We've kind of had that theme.
Oh, yeah.
We've had that theme about the ancient history and stuff and about the researchers and things not trying to expand their knowledge because it's limiting them. It's limiting their advancement because they're unwilling to think, wow, that could be anything else. And so with Tony was talking about, yeah, this is where I'm at. I'm not here or there. I'm 50-50, which I think is a cop out. But he should probably be like, I'm 51% over here or whatever. But the thing is like he's willing to sit here and entertain. If we were crazy out of our ass talking, he'd be like, guys, I got to go. But he's sitting here thinking like, you know what? There are some good things that you're talking about, and it's getting my noodle going. It's just getting it going, you know, because we're not talking crazy yet. Let me get to Venus.
He's over there
You ready?
sighing.
How good's your jujitsu, Chad?
Not good.
You're gonna get fucked up tonight.
Okay. All right. So, anyways,
You better load a mag in that.
it's completely unloaded. Just saying.
Just
No, I genuinely am 50%. So like I don't, man. Like I don't know what to I don't know what to think. Like I don't know what to think. Like
I respect
I'm
this.
considering.
I'm sorry I did
No,
that.
I
That was too
loved
funny.
it.
I respect this a lot more than his normal.
I was
I
thinking
know,
about the Big
I know.
Lebowski. I was like, wait
Well,
a sec. Hold on. Over the line.
I'm the
Mark
dude.
at 0.
I'm the dude.
That's actually my pro.
No, you never asked me, Fred, so I didn't answer.
Yeah, because you
I don't
never.
go. I don't go out of my. I
But are
don't
you
go
ready
out of
for
my
the
way to
Venus
answer
thing?
that.
Are you ready for the Venus thing?
That's
Through
what
the
this-
Venus.
There's Venus, Mars,
Venus.
Earth. There's
Yeah.
Saturn, Neptune. There's the Kuiper Belt. There's their asteroid belt right now that's outside of. So what is it? Mars is further out than Earth, right? Is that right? Is that how it goes? So it's Mercury, Venus. Is it Mercury or Venus, Mars, Earth?
No, it's Venus and Mars are
Mars.
on opposite side of each other.
Right. Well, on opposite sides of the Earth.
Earth,
Yes.
correct.
Okay. But
Mercury,
Mercury is the first one.
Venus,
Venus,
Earth, Mars.
And then the asteroid
Is
belt.
that right?
Then you
I
have
just wondered if Uranus was still a planet.
Uranus.
No, it's Uranus.
It still
Yeah,
is.
Uranus is still a planet, but
For
Pluto
now.
Is it?
not.
Is it now?
Pluto's not. Pluto's a giant like planet tile thing within the Kuiper belt.
Okay.
Whatever,
Yeah,
dude. But anyways, so
whatever.
my theory is listen to this. There we go. Let's see, Cass, what you got? Look on the top.
See the solar system.
Hold on. We got the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth,
It's
Mars.
Venus. Yeah.
We have the asteroid belt: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. How we grew up.
Yeah.
Okay. So Venus right now has a whole bunch of gas, is very close to the sun.
Right.
Now, as we know, the sun or celestial suns, right, stars,
Yeah.
Stars.
they
Yeah.
they start out small and they get
Get
bigger.
bigger, yeah.
right? And then they supernova after
Yep.
that.
And they blow the fuck up and turn into a black
Right.
hole. Maybe.
So we started like
Solid song.
this. We started like this, and Earth actually was impacted by a large body which caused the moon.
Theoretically. That's one theory.
A long time ago.
Yep.
But look at Mexico. I'm sorry, the Gulf of Mexico. There's a big old hole there. If you piece everything together,
Yeah.
that's a whole other
Maybe.
thing.
That's a theory.
But let's just say that's the case.
Allegedly.
Something happened, right? So let's start off with
Something
Mercury.
did happen.
Mercury's way too damn close to the sun to have any life. It just is.
Yeah, it's
you're
way
gonna
too- it's way
bake your
too
ass
hot.
off.
There's a hot motherfucker right there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's like you're at the beach with no sunscreen for multiple days.
Yeah,
right?
I don't even like going to Florida
That's-
because it's too hot.
That's like a 10 on the, that's like a 10 on the hot crazy matrix right there.
Oh yeah, that's such a good matrix. That's so true too. Anyways, so then you go to Venus. Venus right now, Venus is like completely fucked, right? It's like,
yeah,
It's a lot of gas.
it's got a lot of toxic gas. It
Right.
rains acid,
possibly,
shit like
possibly.
Yeah.
that. Think about this way: where are we going? Acid rain on Earth. Acid rain. We're completely.
Is that a Prince song?
I don't think
That's
it's a
Purple
Prince.
Rain?
Purple
Oh,
rain.
Purple Rain.
Close, close.
But I listened to that the other day. But we've got acid rain, right? We've got acid rain, and we're sitting there putting more crap into our atmosphere.
Sure.
So let's say
Space trash.
let's think about but let's think about it this way. So if there was a race of humans
making it hotter.
or humanoids that were on Venus, and they got to the point where they're like, "Woo,
The
we
atmosphere,
screwed this bitch up. We
we-
need to get on our escape
We screw
capsules."
the atmosphere so much that now we have too much insulation. It's
Too much
making it
acidity.
hotter.
We
So
industrialized
now
the
we
planet
got to
too
Earth
much.
because it was cooler. We
Now we're onto
terraformed Earth.
Yes.
And now we're also making it hotter. I don't necessarily believe that, but I understand where you're going from.
But
Now
we
we're
also
looking
went,
at Mars.
But we also went to Mars too. And Mars, we did the opposite of Venus. We were like, yeah, we're not going to terraform this. We're gonna try to do our thing. Something happened to the atmosphere, but on Mars, they've got the face on Mars. You got the
I
pyramid
don't know
on
about
it.
that, but they said there's traces of like there may have been water on
Right.
Mars.
So we're already talking like 20, 30,000 years ago, 100,000 years ago. People like I think Graham Hancock thinks that there was people 100,000 years ago on Earth. So if you think about that long ago, what did Mars look like at that point? Was that like a jumping post? Was that a pit stop?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, look at like I said, even going back to the 120, 200 years.
Yeah.
If we were allowed, say,
That's
even
where
if-
I'm
if-
thinking, by the way.
Yeah, right. If Randall Carlson is even remotely right, and every 15 to 20,000 years, there's a cataclysmic event on Earth.
Nibiru or whatever it is, that planet
I
X.
don't know. Yeah, but if every 15 to 20,000 years there's a cataclysmic event
Mhm.
on Earth, if the last
Nibiru.
one was the Younger Dryas 10,000 years ago, 12,000 years ago, whatever it is, that means we have another 8 to 5,000 years. If we've seen what we've seen in the last 100 years as far as technological advancements go, if we have safely another 5,000 to 8,000 years of this technological advancement, where does that put us? Obviously, it puts us all sitting around a table recording a podcast while the two people on the podcast are looking at their phones.
I'm researching what
Who's
you're
looking
talking
at the
about.
phones? Not this guy.
Well,
Not
you
this
were.
guy.
Did you guys hear it? Hey, you know what? I think that's
I
it.
heard it
that's it.
loud and clear.
I think that's a good way to end it.
Hey, Fred. Go fuck yourself. I heard it.
Where are we going in the next 1,000 years, 5,000 years, if where we have came from in the last 2 to 100 years?
I was
Is it
Googling
close?
how long it took to get to Mars, actually.
I
It was pertinent to the
I was-
conversation.
I was
Is
looking
that
up.
walking or driving at 60 miles an hour?
I was looking up.
Jogging through space.
Jogging.
21,000 year cycle.
Dick swinging,
I was trying to
helicopter.
figure out what that was because there's an asteroid. There's actually an asteroid thing that happens every 21,000 years.
Yes.
It's a group of asteroids
Yes.
and things like that.
I know
And
what
I
you're
think
talking
Randall Carlson was talking about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that talk about it, but I think at this point,
But they were talking about Nibiru, which is like the planet X or whatever like that, and they were talking about that was like what kicked off the Younger Dryas, which was an asteroidal impact from that 21,000 year cycle.
yeah, maybe we can revisit that next
I
time.
know. I'm sorry.
I think we're too. No, don't be sorry. I think we are just collectively
Saturated with knowledge.
saturated.
it's so freaking
And
cool.
bourbon.
though.
There's so much. It's so cool. But I would.
Yeah.
So we'll end. I will say this. we've discussed multiple names. If you want to check out the Egyptian thing and the pyramids and the Sphinx, John Anthony West,
Links in the comment.
Robert Schock, those two names are really good names to research. And if you're real bro science, even though Joe Rogan, is, contestedly smarter than 95% of the motherfuckers that you watch on TV now.
Unless you subscribe to CNN.
Whatever, Communist News Network. All right, is that what that is?
Horse paste.
Horse paste. Right. But if you find yourself, nice enough to tolerate Joe Rogan for a little bit, Graham Hancock, Randall Carlson, their episodes are intriguing if you have an open mind enough, to say the least. And
They back it up with fact pretty good.
they do. They back it up with factual
Yeah.
items quite a bit. They throw a little bit of theory in there, which is fun. Which you
Of course,
should.
yeah.
I think, like we did during this episode. Theory is fun, but facts need to be accompanying. So
Facts don't care about your feelings, by the way.
they don't. There's not a lot that does, honestly.
That sounds very Neil deGrasse Tyson-esque.
Ben
right there.
Shapiro.
Yeah, well, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I'm
says
just
that he,
saying. I'm not saying he didn't quote that. I'm just saying that sounds very
Neil deGrasse Tyson said the universe has no obligation to make sense to you.
Which goes along with what you said.
Thanks a lot, Chad.
Dude, thanks for the bourbon I wasn't planning on drinking.
You're welcome.
Hopefully you
can-
enjoyed the combos.
I'll apologize to your
Welcome.
wife later.
That's all right. We're going to drive to Chipotle.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us today. Remember, check out the website, chronic-curiosity.com, to join us at the forum, have some fun, interaction, pick you up a comfy t-shirt, or if you just want to support the show and donate, all that is on the website as well. Thank you. Until next time. See you.